Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 367 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney. From our friends over at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What is up, gang? Games are slowly coming back into the schedule. Chiclets is back from a very frozen Midwest after the coldest game in NHL history, but we had a blast out there. Lots of fun stuff we did. Let's see if the boys thawed out yet. Mikey G, how you feeling, brother?
Finally back in New York City for the first time in 2 weeks. Had a great time in Minnesota. Like I said, I've never been there before. I actually fell in love with it. But next stop is Las Vegas, boys. Chiclets Cup. I'm ready.
Let's go.
Oof, perfect. I need about a month off after Minnesota. That place can rock 'em, sock 'em, I'll tell you. Biz Nasty, we enjoyed you for a couple days. Unfortunately, your higher-ups dragged you back to Atlanta for the game. We were bummed out. I mean, you got the fucking play-by-play crew there, but you can't have the studio crew there, so everybody was sad they didn't see you, Paul.
That might be a bit of Wayne call. He's probably like, screw this. I've already done enough outdoor games. Let's get back to the studio and stay warm. But yeah, it sucked that I got to miss that the appearance. What was the bar called again? Cowboy Jack's?
Yes.
And apparently there was a ton of people there. So for all the people that I missed, I'm really sorry. Looked like an amazing time. You guys even ran into one of the bachelorettes who came over.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say one of the pictures that ended up getting snapped, it was a tough scene because it looked like she was giving Whit the hungry eyes. I don't know
Probably
if it
was. Probably was with that pink hat I was wearing. No, my wife saw that and DM'd MB. She goes, "Why is that woman eye fucking my husband?" And MB goes, "Don't worry, she wasn't." Just like a completely random, like the way like she clipped took the pic, but I'll take it.
Yeah, tire pump +1. But other than that, man, we got set up huge. We got some great stuff captured for all you Chiclets fans. It'll be slowly rolling out over the course, probably the next 3 weeks. And I'll leave it up to RA to announce who we ended up collecting as an interview. But like I said, for all the people I missed at Cowboy Jack's, my apologies. We went there the night before though, on New Year's Eve, and there were a few people there we got to say hello to. A few people were just absolutely gunned though. Like just slop tarts, probably too many Pink Whitney shots. But no, it was a good time. It was a really fun game to call. Tons of stuff going on, and to everybody from the NHL and the media crews and the fans, everybody who showed up. Just an amazing event. Crazy at the fact that the temperature was so cold and they still ended up selling out. But that's just a testament to all you hardcore fans out there, and including the ones from St. Louis who made the trip.
I had no idea that was the Bachelorette. I could sense they were like somebody, one of them was something. And I legit asked them, like, are you two newlyweds? Because they were all over each other and they kind of just laughed. And then like 10 minutes later, my mother's like, oh my God, you just met the Bachelorette. I was like, I did. She's like, oh, your aunt was on your Instagram and they came through the line. I didn't know until my mother texted me that it was the fucking Bachelorette. But it must have been something about those pink hats we were wearing, because I had the Trapper hat on. And, Minnesota women, very, very lovely, very friendly, just said, I like your pink hat. I want to buy you a drink. We're from Minnesota. We like to be nice. Just totally bought me a tequila drink.
Dog.
I had a hat on,
dirty dog.
I love
Whitney
RA,
hats.
by the way. He's like, yeah, Minnesota can really rock 'em, sock 'em. Dude, you can get rock 'em, sock 'em you could be in Iraq and you'd be rock 'em, sock 'em, RA. You were one of those guys. You had a weekend for yourself. Very impressive. I love Minnesota. It was beautiful. It was, as much as I say beautiful and it sounds crazy, it's an unreal experience in the winter. I love summers there, but I've never really gotten to do the ice fishing thing. One of our probably best days filming, what we got to do, an amazing interview. We'll bring up with who that was with a little bit later. Actually, a couple different people. My trip though, dude, it got started off rough start. I was flying in Tuesday and I would plan on seeing a good buddy of mine, Justin Miser, I've mentioned, the Mize dog. And my flight left Boston at 5:15. So I was in the city earlier and I was like, I'm not going to go home first. So I just I got to the airport at like 2, or it was like 1:45 because I wait time work. I was like, I'll just go early. Nothing's better than an airport beer and I'll hang out. Well, my flight ends up getting delayed. I took off from Boston at 12:45 a.m. I was at the airport for like 9 hours. They delayed it 8 different times. The first delay was 20 minutes. I'm like, that's not too bad. The next delay was 45 minutes. The third delay was 3 hours. Then I was like, oh my God, now I have to like stop drinking. I'll be waffled. So my mind's racing. Now I'm finally at the gate. Later on, I went to the Delta Lounge, which was actually a really nice touch. Great job by the Delta Lounge at Logan Airport. So It's now probably 10:30 p.m. and we get hit with another delay, like another hour and 20 minutes. And naturally, the crowd around the gate, everyone who's been there close to 7 hours is like, oh, like the groaning out loud, just, oh my God. I wasn't one of them. I was doing it silently, but I was not loud moan groan guy.
You weren't punching the lady at the front desk.
Well, listen, the lady at the front, this is unbelievable what this lady does. So immediately, like a couple people go up, like they're so furious. Like, now, mind you, going up, what's it going to do? I think they just wanted to really like announce their presence with authority to the woman at the gate. So like everyone's kind of pissed off. She deals with a couple people. I'm sitting close enough where I could see one guy's flipping out. Like he's going to miss the connector. He could miss the connector the next day now with the way things are going. So she gets on the mic and makes one of the most ridiculous mistakes I've ever seen an airline worker make. She starts off great. She's like, everyone, I know this is so hard. This has been a brutal day and we apologize. And she sounds really good. I'm like, this is pretty professional what she's doing right now. She says, but you got to listen to me. I started my shift. I got here at 5:00. How do you think I feel? Dude, there was about 30 people. Are you fucking kidding me? I was here at 3. You got here at 5 to do your job. Holy shit. I was like, oh my God. So it was this. People were getting on the plane by the time we get on, like game facing her. I think right away she knew she shouldn't have tried to like make it about her. But it was just one of those things that was kind of a disaster to start the trip off. So I was worried how it was all going to go. I'm one of those people. If the trip starts off bad, is it going to be bad the whole time? Exact opposite. Minnesota, incredible experience. The meet and greet was wild. These people are so friendly, and Minnesotans and generally Midwest people are so nice. You almost think, like, at least where we're from, you almost think they're like fucking with you a little bit.
Yeah. It's like an ulterior motive somewhere.
Like, dude, why are you saying hi so friendly? Like, it was just a great experience. What else? I have a couple more things that I can't think of now, but they'll pop back.
RA, I saw you tweet something out about the airlines making a rule where all the people who are bringing household pets onto the plane need to start flying on their own airline.
Enough. Just start booking animal only flight or animal with passenger flights. So it's like, this is something people have obviously taken advantage of. And I'm not talking, when I say house pets, that fucking should automatically rule guide dogs by the ADA. Like this isn't about that. Guide dogs are guide dogs.
But you can make any dog a guide dog now.
No, a guide dog is a trained. It's through the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's not an emotional support thing that people pay $10 and put it on their dog's back and like pretend like they can't fly without it. Or people bringing their cats on the fucking plane. It's ridiculous at this point. Like,
did you guys see that viral? Did you guys see the viral clip a couple weeks ago with the girl who had the fake cat and she was pretending to breastfeed it?
That was
acting like she was a psycho. So the airline attendant was starting to bitch at her, and so were some of the people. And then finally, when she stood up and showed them it was a fake cat, they all felt like idiots. But it was a pretty good sonk by the chick. Now I think that
was a skit, but.
Oh, wait. The whole thing was planned?
Like, does he not know?
Yeah.
The skit.
Because the kid at Barstool, Big T.
Oh, so I got sonked.
He blogged it at Barstool, and I was like, wait, did he get J-Macked here? Like when you get caught by a fake story and you blog it, that's called getting J-Macked.
I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
So more people probably thought it was real because it got blogged when it was obviously fucking fake as shit. It was
I was just surprised that they would take the time and energy on a flight for everyone to kind of get together and plan that. Or was it like, were they filming something on a plane where it wasn't even an actual like flight that was going from one location to another?
I think, are we going to chime in there, G?
I mean, I was going to say it's probably one of those fake airline sets that they have in LA, like those fake private jets that all the influencers use.
Oh, it looked like an actual flight. So I look like a fucking donkey now. Great way to start the show. -1.
I just don't want to leave you hanging there.
But all right.
Merles. Everyone. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bills.
Well, I was just going to say, I think a lot of airlines ended up cracking down on the fact that you couldn't just bring a regular dog. Like, I think it got pretty easy where all you needed was a note in order to bring it on. Now, what animal did you see that sparked you to send that out? Like, did someone bring on a falcon or something?
Well, there's the usual array of, dogs who are just people's pets, which, I know I don't want to pay the money and put my dog into there. It's like, well, that's what separates animals and humans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, if you don't want it, then get an airline with.
What was the dog doing though?
It was no, it wasn't a dog. That's why people are like, oh, I already don't like dogs. I'm like, I didn't say dogs. It was a fucking meowing cat, and I fucking hate cats with a passion, like a lot of people do. And I'm like, I have headphones anyways, but this match is sitting next to this meow, meow.
You were next seat over and it was
endlessly,
just meowing?
just nonstop. I think it was probably a kitten. It's like, which again, like, oh, I don't want to put my kitten underneath. Well, it's like, well, then maybe fucking rent the car. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. It's not about not liking animals or liking animals. Like, what if you're allergic? Now, I'm not like, my wife's allergic to cats. So, okay. So this person has to bring their fucking cat on or else they can't fly allegedly. But now say there's 10 people on the flight who are allergic to cats. So you're going to inconvenience 10 fucking people to make one person and their fucking cat comfortable. How does that make sense? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So not to mention some people are fucking scared of dogs. Not me. Some people get bit by dogs before. Even a little fucking Shih Tzu scares them. So like, yeah, they're trying to fly. They're already petrified of flying. And then some, people bring dogs.
How do you know they're petrified of flying? You're making up. How do you know they're petrified of flying?
I'm okay. Even if they're not, maybe they're just petrified of dogs, and fucking that's added into the stress that flying already is. Man, it's fucking just fucking do animal flights. Just fucking have an animal airline. $1 billion idea, freebie. There you go.
They did, didn't they? Snakes on a plane.
That's what I wrote in my blog. I'm like, I'm going to bring my emotional support pit viper on the fucking plane.
Like Jake the Snake coming out with like anaconda wrapped around your neck.
I can't fly without him.
If you're scared of a Shih Tzu, you're a fucking asshole, first of all. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I forgot. Great. Good start, Biz.
Merle's EBR getting recognized everywhere. The brand is growing. Probably 30 to 40 EBRs as Merle's walk by. So it was a great trip for him. He continues to grow. We added a little Merle element to the end of interviews, a little Merle minute. So that was another thing on my mind. Oh, there was some kid that's like, he's like buckled with all his buddies. He's like, Whitney, $1,000 a hole. I'll play you $1,000 a hole. I'm like, yeah, anytime, bud. Now, mind you, like golf, you could look like the most unathletic squid in the world and you could be amazing at golf. So it doesn't, you know what I mean? I'm like, anytime. And he comes back, $1,000 a hole. I'm like, I told you anytime. He's like, you're not even that good. You're not. I go, dude, who are you? He's like, I play D1 golf. His buddies are like, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. I'll play you anytime. I go, buddy, I made $30 million playing another sport, and now I'm decent at golf. I've never said I'm better than you. Get out of my face with your $1,000 a hole and leave me alone. And he understood right away. I think he had just overstepped his boundaries a little bit, screaming at me, $1,000 a hole, $1,000 a hole. I'm like, can you go like hit on a girl or something and leave me alone? But other than that, every other fan was amazing.
Oh, you know what I was going to say, Ray? I saw someone chime in on that tweet you sent was, I'd rather a pet than a crying baby. And I couldn't agree more. I've been next to a few crying babies on flights. That's the tough one. But
yeah,
you can't.
You have kids, you'll change your tune. And you have kids.
Hey, I would feel very uncomfortable if my kid was crying for, let's say, like an hour and a half of a 4-hour flight. Like you feel bad. I'm not saying that we're not going to put the babies underneath. I'm not complaining like RA over here.
No. I'm saying it's way worse. Like any person whose kid is crying on the plane is more rattled and despises it more than any other person listening to it. Okay. Like your kid's cry is worse to you than it is to anyone else. So imagine how bad it is for the stranger who just hears a baby crying and then think of the parent that's with them and what they would do to get that kid to stop crying.
And it's like the infants don't know how to pop their ears with the altitude change.
You can't get mad at a fucking infant. I mean, that's their baby. You just got
to whack them really hard.
That's why you get fucking, the fucking Bose noise cancelers, you're good. But if a kid's being a fucking brat, that's when you want to like punt them through the
do the noise cancelers cancel out the cats meowing or no?
Fortunately, I wasn't seated near that woman, so I didn't hear the meow the whole fucking flight. Thankfully.
Well, we can move on from the flights.
I thought you were sitting right next to the cat.
No, I was sitting in the gate. That's when I tweeted because I was waiting at the gate. And it just was like,
hold on here.
Here we go. Here we go.
You just shriveled yourself.
Oh yeah.
I think you said you sat next to the cat the whole flight.
No, I didn't say I sat. I said I was sitting next to it. Why didn't maybe specify the gate? Regardless, I've been beating this drum for years, dude. I blogged about it years ago. This isn't like a new thing with me. Sitting next to a fucking cat in the fucking gate, like trying to fucking get a flight home. That's I legit moved. I moved fucking because it was annoying me, and that's why I sent the tweet. But whatever, that's old.
I think we should get a rough and rowdy between fucking RA and the cat ladies,
or the cat. He just has to tilt the cat.
That'd be a deal breaker, man. Legit. I fucking can't stand cats. But hey, before we do the deep dive into Minnie, just a note or two from last episode. Keith Jones, Biz, I know you said he might be on a Mount Rushmore, and that's high praise, but everybody seemed to love him. We just want to give him an extra thanks because his interview was so good. His stories were unbelievable.
How bang on was that getting the assistant captaincy? And it even happened to you, didn't it, Whit?
Yeah. So did I not say that during the interview?
No, I think you were just letting him talk, which was probably the way to go.
I thought I might have said it either then or last episode. I don't know if I said it last episode when his interview ended. But yeah, it happened to me. I got the A on. I'm like, oh, baby, I got the A. And sure as shit, it is the most ultimate. Let's make every team think this guy is way more important and way more of a leader than he actually is. But I didn't even, you know what the funniest part is? I never even thought of that until like he said it. I was like, wait a minute. That was well, as he was telling us at his ranch, I was in my I was like the hamster was in my head spinning the wheel. Like, oh shit, that was what I really should have known.
This happened in Pitt or in Anaheim?
Yeah, in Pitt.
In Pitt. Okay. Oh wow, the old rope-a-dope. Well, we all seem to get sunk so far this episode.
Yeah,
RA shriveled himself.
10 times a day.
I got a little bit. Oh Jesus, come on, Biz. Get the brain clicking.
You actually made an appearance on the Blindsided podcast as well with Corey Hirsch. Correct?
Yeah, it was great. We had a good sit down.
Yeah, kind of went a little deeper than usual. I think people who don't see that side of Biz might want to check it out.
I think that's the purpose of their podcast. And, you know, they did a good job of dragging it out of me. But like I said, I'm an open book. I can talk about anything. So yeah, it was great. If you guys want to check it out, I divulge a little bit of my personal life, but I mean, some of you are like, nah, I'd just rather hear the idiot Biz on the Spittin Chiclets podcast. So here we are.
Stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well, we've been burying the lead long enough. The big highlight from our trip, at least from my perspective, and I'm sure you boys agree, we got an invitation to General Manager Billy Guerin's house to do a long-awaited interview there, and then he had us over for dinner. And, you know, he didn't have anybody else do the cooking. Billy cooked the steaks himself, was outside grilling the asparagus, had the cheesy potatoes going, mixing drinks for everybody, like just a consummate host, class personified. We got an awesome interview coming to you soon. But we've been talking about this guy forever on the show. Everybody has nothing but good things to say about him. We saw up close why everyone loves Billy Guerin.
Yes, and thank you to his two daughters, I believe, who were the main reason that he actually came on. I think his son too, Liam, who's playing junior hockey right now. I think they've given him enough shit where it's like, Dad, come on, go on the show. So finally, with us being in town, it worked out perfect. You know, mind you, this guy brings out steaks at the end of the interview. It was like 8:45, 9 o'clock. He's got 13 Wagyu beef steaks. It must have cost $1,000 total what he had out there. RA actually put one in a goodie bag, in a doggy bag to go at the end. They look so good. We crushed those. At one point, he was telling all of us a story. He had great stories. He's filling us in. And he's like, hold on, I got to go flip the asparagus upstairs. Like this guy, he gave us the gift of doing an interview, and then he's running up and down telling stories and flipping the steak. So an amazing experience. The one thing I had to ask you about, RA, was never have I ever seen you more excited or happy as to when Bill Guerin mentioned he's a Star Wars fan. So this came up at dinner and they started talking back and forth, and it was great. You could tell RA was so excited that like a guy like Bill Guerin is a big time Star Wars fan. So they're discussing Chewbacca and fucking Darth Vader and all this stuff. Next thing you know, we're finally leaving. It's later on. It's probably 11:30. We almost like had to basically
kick ourselves out.
Like it was, I think, well, that's what we were having some wine. And then he goes, anyone want an ice cream? And he got up and I was like, I think that means like, guys, like get the fuck out of the house. But we had an ice cream and then we left. So we're finally ready to go. And RA, classic RA. He's like, hey, Billy, I know you mentioned you got a unbelievable Star Wars Lego connection. He's like, yeah, it's upstairs. He was like, can I see it? Next thing you know, Billy G's like, all right, they go upstairs. They're going over the Star Wars Legos. So RA on the ice fishing, he was discussing Billy Guerin likes Star Wars. It was probably your top moment of the trip, I'd say.
Definitely up there, man. Because, like, you know, you guys probably didn't watch a lot of sci-fi growing up. There's not a lot of overlap between hockey players and Star Wars in my experiences. So, like, again, to have a guy like Guerin, and, you know, we're pretty close in age to be familiar with it all. I mean, he even dropped the line on me. It was like, he's like, I don't like you either. I was like, holy shit, he's dropping like Star Wars Cantina lines. I was fucking overwhelmed. And he gave me the invite. I didn't invite myself on that one. He's like, come up and check it out. But dude, his son Liam, unreal collection. It's funny too, Biz, because we just mentioned it like an episode ago, how they have these Millennium Falcons that take like a week and a half to put together. Liam had every little thing. He had all these toys I had. So I took a couple of videos. I haven't shared them yet because we haven't spoiled the news about going one of Billy's, but that was fantastic. Definite highlight of the night was getting Billy Guerin to drop Star Wars.
And I would say the icing on the cake was him busting out the Stanley Cup rings too. And those were, it was fun seeing the old one and how it's smaller they are compared to the new ones that are just covered in diamonds and about 6 fucking pounds. The old ones you can wear and they're subtle. These new ones, you can't even wear them. You just got to keep them in your safe or something.
We'll actually have a vlog dropping of all this, like Guerin's house and all that on our YouTube channel next week too. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're going to drop a pin too. So if any of you Minnesota Wild fans want to stop by, maybe enjoy some Wagyu steaks and some Star Wars banter, feel free.
I know that we get the, I was going to say Billy Sushi went to later, but we got to call him Wagyu Billy after he busted out those steaks. I never had that before. There was
oh my God, man. Billy Sushi. I forgot about that night. This place is, I've said a long time, the best sushi I've ever had is Umi in Pittsburgh. Think Shady Side. I think I have a new number one. Billy's Sushi in Minneapolis. One of the most amazing meals I've ever eaten in my life. Billy, who owns it, is a complete lunatic. This guy it is the most incredible thing I ever seen. This guy, we signed a picture in there, but the sushi at Billy's Sushi is the best I've ever eaten. So please, if you ever get the chance in Minnesota, check it out.
Yeah, it was a great trip. And I got to ask you guys who went to the game, like, did you last the whole game? I know it was the coldest one on record. It looked, I don't want to say miserable, but it looked like it wasn't enjoyable to be standing there the entire time.
I stayed for the whole game.
Yeah, RA stayed for the whole, but you know, RA, you couldn't have felt much. Like you were buckled.
No, dude, buckled, dude. I fucking had 3 beers during the meet and greet. I went upstairs, met a couple people on the patio outside, got some fresh air. Dude, I hit a wall at the game. I had like the first drink. I didn't even finish it, but I was because I went downstairs just to warm up between periods because you needed to. Like my nose was starting to hurt. I thought it was getting frostbite for a second. But no, I went warmed up between periods. I stayed till the bitter end.
As someone who was buckled, it still hurt. It's still the coldness very much hurt.
It was very, very cold, like almost to the point where you're wondering what you're doing. But I think like basically the experience for everyone was like, all right, let's just go grind it out. I thought I saw somewhere it was the 3rd coldest sporting event ever played. I don't know if that's legit. I don't know if somebody made that up at the bar. I don't know. But I ended up going inside because there was a pretty cool setup upstairs. Like New Amsterdam was involved. We could go in, warm up a little bit there. Like peppermint schnapps, hot chocolates, crushing those things. Probably 1,000 calories each, but tasted great. RA, the other line that you cracked me up with. RA came bombing into the meet and greet. He was almost like 10 minutes late, but he couldn't get into the building. It wasn't his fault. And he's fucking leaking sweat. Now, mind you, it's -10 outside. I'm like, how is somebody sweating? So he takes his jacket off and he's getting ready. And, you know, people are coming through the line. And the first thing I hear him say is, sorry about my back sweat to the person that's giving him a hug. Oh my God.
Yeah. And they were bringing this shirt out and taking RA shots. What are the shots at the bar?
RA sweat.
Oh,
I take my fucking face cloth from the hotel. I use it for my Barry White sweat rag. That's an old fat guy.
You were
trick.
leaking.
Because dude, you had to layer up for the game. So like you're gonna be sweating by the time you walk where you're going. That's what are you gonna do? Dab the sweat.
Do you guys want to talk about the game itself? Like, did you guys like?
Yeah, I thought fucking Cam Talbot. I mean, he got pulled after the second. I thought it was because of his giving up 6 goals, but actually, Dean Everson said after the game it wasn't precautionary. He came out of the game. He wouldn't have taken him out of that hockey game. He's a battler. He gave up 6 goals on 28 shots, but they said he suffered a lower body injury. Jordan Kyrou led the way. Biz 2 goals, 2 assists. He was probably the player of the game. You'd have to say. Well,
going back to Talbot, like he was the only reason that they were in it early. Like St. Louis came out humming, and it's unfortunate because Minnesota hadn't played for 13 days coming into it. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't want to say the word distraction in like a negative sense. It's just, you're at home, you're dealing with the ticket situation. You have your family there. You're doing the family skate the day before. So a lot more weight than a team that's coming in from off the road. But as far as Kyrou is concerned, man, this guy keeps raising the bar. I think he had 4 points in that second period, humming around. They were just really exposing Minnesota. And, you know, just going back to the fact that you're not playing a regular game in 13 days to go into that experience, it looked like they really struggled in those first 2 periods. But then in that third, you kind of saw them come alive and at least make it a little bit interesting, but definitely some highlight reel goals. There was a massive amount of skill on display for sure.
Tough to win without Spurgeon and Eriksson too.
Oh,
and
Brodeen. So they going in, they were really behind the eight ball. And I thought the minute that the St. Louis Blues strolled out in those outfits, that it was. I mean, you look back. I mean, Boston wore them. They ended up winning in Tahoe. So they got. I mean, was there any
Boston wore '80s gear? It wasn't like going to the beach gear.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was all time. And then Bennington, I guess he bought like 30 lumberjack shirts. That was their original plan. So like then they ended up switching to the beach attire last minute. So he's got a bunch of lumberjack shirts he's trying to give out. And Biz, you said he had like chicken soup broth in the hot water bottles too during the game. That's pretty wild stuff. I never heard of that before.
I don't know where he got that from. That must be an old trick for the people playing on the ponds, but definitely a wily veteran move given the circumstances. Any other players stick out to you guys?
Dude, let me tell you something. And you can text me or tweet me if you disagree. If you were at this game, I don't know how much you actually remember. It's like going to a Red Sox game. You actually don't remember one play because not only is it -10, you're drinking. I don't really remember the game that much. I'm not even joking around. I know Kyrou was buzzing around. Our seats were a little bit tough to see. We were down really low, so almost like eye level with the boards. So it's kind of difficult to actually see the ice. But I think in the end, it was like everyone who was going there was just concentrating on having drinks and staying warm. And I think in the end, like actually watching the game almost became second. I'm not even kidding around. It was that cold.
It's the atmosphere too, and that place looks like a great place to watch a ball game too.
Yeah,
but it's got the old school Twins logo up right up the middle with the guy shaking hands. That's one of those old American League logos I love. But I would go back to watch a ball game there.
I'd say one of the most noticeable things were the St. Louis Blues jerseys. I think that it would be cool if they moved to those permanently. That ivory white with that baby blue, I think it pops nice.
Thought the Wild were awesome too.
I like the Wilds even more, actually.
I like the Wilds for the outdoor experience, but to move those to all the time, no, in my opinion. I just really liked I like St. Louis is making those maybe regulars. Fans may disagree, but to me, those were some of the classiest jerseys I've seen for a special event.
Yeah,
I loved how the Wild skated out to the rink too, out of that little looked like kind of a
little hut.
Yeah, it was pretty lumber hut. It was pretty cool. It was a great setup. I mean, walking in too, it was like the fans were going nuts. Let's go Wild chant. Like it was a really, really cool atmosphere just to be a part of. And right when you walk in, every outdoor game I've been to, right when you walk in and you first see like the arena, the rink and how it's set up and how it looks, it was a cool moment. I got a cool video of that. So in the end, I mean, an amazing experience and a wonderful trip for us.
No doubt. The sellout crowd, Biz, 38,619. The temperature was negative 5.7 Fahrenheit, the coldest NHL game ever. And the Chiclets boys were there for it. As far as who impressed me, we got to mention Kaprizov. He got a goal. He scored his 40th goal for the Minnesota franchise in 86 games played. It's the fastest in team history, besting Brian Ralston's 40 in 90 games. Let's see, Biz, we're going to talk about the stash on TNT. I was with you Friday. Didn't even think that you had a stash going. And then the next day you show up looking like Freddie Mercury.
I was scruffy and I figured, it's the outdoor game. Might as well just look like a complete donkey on national television. I was going to ask you guys, was it about 50-50 as far as attendance? Like St. Louis Blues fans to Minnesota fans?
No, dude. No.
Oh, it wasn't?
It was like 70-30, 80-20.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, I just felt that like when we were walking around the town that there was a lot of St. Louis people. So,
there definitely was, but not close to how many Wild fans were there.
Yeah, but as far as the TNT broadcast, it was a great time. Me and Wayne ended up sitting down between the first intermission and second intermission and doing like a little Q&A on the Bleacher Report app. And yeah, other than that, some funny moments. But it was a great game, boys, and a fun game to call.
Did you ask Bettman if he drinks during the games?
He looked like he had a glaze on during that post game, and he had a nice tan. I don't know where he's living these days, but he had a nice tan going, including with the scruff. He says his wife doesn't like the scruff. And then I asked the Belichick question because he's been swatting it away. I asked what his New Year's resolution was, and no surprise that he's like, I just want this fucking league to get back going again. This virus to go away because it's been a log jam with the games. I'm still. I'm a little pessimistic to think that they're going to be able to squeeze in all 82 by the time that they thought they were going to when the regular season was supposed to end.
All I'll say on that is if they don't get 82 games in, it's the most embarrassing, pathetic thing I've ever seen. That's what I'll say that with.
Well, you guys want to jump to World Juniors? That's even fucking worse.
Wait to talk about that.
Fucking joke. That's a fucking
poor
joke.
Kids. Let me tell you guys something at home. Playing in the World Juniors is one of the most legendary, memorable events of my life. people that get to play in those games usually start thinking about the chance and the dream of doing it around like 11 or 12. I'll say that 80 to 90%, even though the tournament is stacked with the best players in the world, let's say 80% of the kids who play in the tournament, it'll be the highest level hockey they ever play. And to go out and cancel it the way they did. And first off, if it's going to be in Canada, which is ridiculous right now, it was planned in advance to be in Canada. Okay, they had no game plan whatsoever. I was reading a report today in Red Deer. There was zero. The hotel was packed, the restaurants, the gift shops. And if you're going to do that, you got to understand there's going to be positive tests. Instead, there was 4 or 5 positives. They called the whole event. All these kids' dreams crushed. The only good thing that happened out of the cancellation is getting to hear about the Russians' trip home, getting kicked off the plane, and getting the Czech team kicked off too, because they just thought they were with them. They were like, no, we're not smoking cigarettes and vaping. I think it was Sergei Zubov who was vaping at the front of the plane, wouldn't stop. So just an awful situation to cancel that tournament. And I've been reading possibly it'll go on this summer, but it's just not amazing to see it go down the way it did, and that first United States forfeit, and like it's just crazy. I guess
what was bizarre was the fact that the rules were so strict, but yet they had them in hotels with the general public as well as other teams. That's what I couldn't wrap my head around. All right.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around any of this anymore, Paul. Like I don't get it. Like I don't get why they had to cancel it. Why the NHL isn't doing what the NBA is doing. I'm fucking out of answers, man. We've been doing this for like 2 years now. I don't understand why, if you're supposed to isolate these kids, why they're around other people, or even, you know, if you get tested, you might fucking test different an hour later. I'm like so fucking sick of talking about it. But going back to it, with the idea of a 17-year-old kid sparking up a fucking dot like Kelly Leak and the Bad News Bears, like in 2022
on a Delta flight,
that's more preposterous than bringing a python on a fucking plane in this day and age.
Hey, by the way, you don't like a cat next to you in the gate. Imagine a Marlboro Light lit in your face.
I'd fucking rather that. Well, dude, they said one of the coaches, he was playing Russian rock off his phone, but he had no headphones on. He was just blaring his fucking iPhone with the tunes. That's the most annoying thing ever, but let alone it's fucking boring.
So I think Team Finland was on the flight too, and they ended up having to delay it, but they let all those guys back on, and they said that they wouldn't have to like be delayed till the next day. So
yeah,
you said
they felt so bad about Czech that they ended up getting them the hotel, getting them the exact same flight the next day, because they basically got roped in with the Russians, right? I mean, they have the colors are like somewhat similar, right? If they're wearing the jumpsuits, who knows how it went down? But if I'm a kid from Czech who's reading a book, listening to a mental, like a positive attitude podcast, and I'm getting dragged off the flight because some kid in the KHL is drinking vodka and smoking a cigar in the bathroom, I'm furious.
I would pay large money to see this whole surveillance of all the antics.
I know. I'm surprised nobody started videoing it, and the clips haven't gone viral.
Yeah, we get the fucking cat sucking the girl's tit, but we can't see the fucking Russians blowing Marlboros and Team Czech Republic's yap. Come on, meow.
Putin rounded them all up already. Yeah,
this is not the first time that Team Russia has had issues flying home from the tournament. I think the year they ended up winning the gold medal, they were even worse. It was an absolute shit show. They got kicked off that flight. So they just, they don't really like rules over there.
No, God, no.
Do you think this was their rebuttal for double IHF and
honestly, it could have been. They could have been like, this is such a joke. We're just going to make a mockery of this airline. I have no idea. I wish I could get in the minds of these kids. Like, imagine Zubov's like, guys, get in the back of that plane and go fucking bananas. They're like, oh, yes.
I know I told you to leave it all on the ice, but I want you to leave it all on this airline.
Part of my World Juniors too, so this, the forfeit started happening. I was so mad. I was like, this is just so pathetic. And then I started thinking, if this tournament actually continues to get played, which I think I thought it would, I started saying there's no chance Canada's going to have to forfeit a game either. There's not going to be one fucking time Canada tests positive. It's in Canada. They're going to get away with never forfeiting a game. So at least that whole thing didn't end up having to go down. And United States are still defending champs. We're the World Junior champs.
Oh, here we go.
It'll be 4 years running before they play that tournament again, if it's supposed to be in Canada again next year.
Chris Peters, he tweeted that the IIHF's Luke Tardif said that they're not going to give up. They're going to hope to have it at a later date. They haven't ruled out having it perhaps in June, July, August, but that's, very much down the line and TBD at this point.
All right, that's not the only guys voicing their opinion on cancellation of things. So Anthony Duclair and I want to say David Perron were two of the guys in Quebec. They did a mandatory shutdown. You couldn't be out of your house at past 10 p.m. And at the outdoor rinks, they locked the nets together so nobody could go play hockey, which is another fucking joke because you can keep fast food restaurants open, but you can't go do any type of activity outdoors. Like, give me a fucking break, man. This is like north of the border. It's just gotten a little bit squirrely, and a lot more people that I consider very level-headed are starting to voice their opinion. Fortunately, guys, I'm in the States right now. I know I'd be going a little bit crazy, especially with the mental health aspect of this, and I'm sure a lot of people are going through again. So let's just hope it turns over quick. But I think that Quebec has gone even more extreme than the other provinces. And shout out to Duclair and Perron for stepping up and saying something.
Yeah, like I said, when I was up there a couple of weeks ago, Paul, it seemed to be across, not that I was asking people their politics, but it just seemed to be across the board. People just overwhelmingly frustrated with everything, regardless of which way they might lean. So I don't know. Hopefully they can clean up at some point because Canada can't be killing hockey like this.
One part I forgot to mention about the outdoor game was after we finished the broadcast is we went back to the hotel to grab a little bite to eat and a few pops in the lobby. And all of a sudden this guy, a big, massive guy with a cowboy hat walks in. And I think it was Wayne who recognized him. He goes, I think that's Brock Lesnar. And he said, hello, ended up coming to sit down. We spent about 2 hours with him having drinks and shooting the shit. I had no idea that Brock Lesnar actually bought property in Saskatchewan. He actually lives in Saskatchewan now. So he just kind of commutes. He ends up driving over the border about 2 hours away, and that's where he travels out of and flies out of. So great guy, very interesting, and he's still going. He talked about because I was like, how are you not banged up and how are you still wrestling at this age? And he said about 13 years ago, he got this trainer and he just kind of changed his whole life as far as eating habits and the way he trains. And I think that he says that he could probably wrestle at a high level for another 3-4 years. And I think, and actually that night in Atlanta, he won back the belt. So he's now defending champion of the WWE. And I believe is it considered the heavyweight division? Is that how they break them up in wrestling, RA?
You're asking the wrong guy. Man.
I don't know.
I tapped
he won the belt, but like
35 years ago. Yeah,
he knew he was winning it before.
That was rigged too. His like event. The girl with the cat in the plane.
By the way, if Gretzky recognizes you, that's one of the sickest things I've ever heard. Like Gretzky was the one that's like, that's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think he's a wrestling fan. He pointed him right out. I did a quick turn and just looked, and I didn't recognize him right away, but it was probably because he had a cowboy hat on that was covering like the top of his head. But he was a great guy. I know he's known as a bit of a heel, and he has to have kind of this asshole persona as far as his character, but he was the complete opposite. He actually exchanged numbers with me, and I got a text the next day like, "Hey, let's keep in touch, man." I'm like, "Okay, fucking hey, I'll let you choke slam me through a table for content. Let's do it."
All right, we got a couple other Olympic notes here, but first we do want to let you know that it's a new year, but that doesn't mean everything has to be new or you got to have a resolution for it. So if you were digging Pink Whitney back in 2021, well, keep whacking them back in 2022 and stop by your favorite local joint, order up some Pink Whitney there as well. And guys, it was great to see some of the Gallo folks this weekend with Pink Whitney. They've been pimping the product for a couple of years now at our meet and greet. Whit, I know you bumped into a few old friends there, right?
Yep. It was amazing. All right, we finally got to see Nate, our buddy at New Amsterdam. He's been an enormous part of this entire thing since the very beginning, a great guy. And it was cool because the way the line worked for the pictures we did with all the fans at the meet and greet, we had the Pink Whitney shot.
The shot skis. The
shots. So everyone was crushing a shot. Grinelli did about 300 of them. And we got to hang out with a bunch of old friends, Nate included. So thank you for coming out and keep crushing the Pink Whit.
Yep. Absolutely. Lots of that flowing last weekend. The United States announced the women's Olympic hockey team as the team looks to go back-to-back. After the second period at the Winter Classic the other night, the 23-player roster was unveiled. Hillary Knight is back for her fourth Olympics. Kendall Coyle-Schofield back for her third. And a pair of Pink Whitney Cup alums are back as well. Amanda Kessel at her third Olympics. Megan Keller back for her second. Good luck, ladies. Also, Maddie Rooney, Nicole Hensley, and Alex Cavallini are the three goalies. They're going to be back in the cage as well. Of course, the U.S. won gold back in 2018 with a 3-2 shootout win over Canada. And again, one of the best rivalries in the sport, U.S.-Canada. Looking forward to getting that going, Biz. Maybe you guys get a win. What do you got, Pete?
Could I just jump in real quick? Just you saying those girls' names from the Pink Whitney Cup just reminded me how bad that they were chirping me. These girls can throw the chirps around. That whole game, Amanda Kessel up and down the ice, just giving it to me in my ear. So, and especially with USA Canada, they hate each other so much. I'd love to hear these girls mic'd up.
I would love to hear them mic'd up. And that Decker, I've met her before. She was on that swing with all the ladies when they played down in Arizona, and apparently she's a little bit chippy too. So I think they probably wouldn't allow it at a double IHF event, but they definitely got to do it down the road and fucking allow these girls to get the chirps flying.
I can't wait
out there.
I mean, the fact that we pretty much know they're going to meet in the gold medal game, although I guess they could end up meeting in the semis depending on, I don't know how the divisions or how that works in the Olympics, but when they play each other, it is no joke. Can't wait.
It's not too often the hockey world generally agrees with Brad Marchand, but they did with his tweet about the Olympic lack of participation, I guess we'll call it for the men. His tweet, the NHL and NHLPA can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and they don't lose any money, which has already been agreed upon that the players will pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless of how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics so they can honor the agreement they made so NHL players can go. Please tell me that's not bullshit. And for all of you out there who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make their choice. Again, I'm bringing this up again because it's Marchand, and again, he's not the most liked guy in the league, but everybody agreed with him. Vladimir Tarasenko, he chimed in as well, basically saying, yeah, it's kind of bullshit. And he was saying that you'd be surprised how many guys actually would have gone. So, I mean, we could probably put this story to bed soon, Biz, but it was a noteworthy thing from a pretty prominent player.
Go ahead, Whit. You seem cocked and loaded.
No, I understand completely where he's coming from, but what's interesting is as many people who agreed with him, and in the end, I do too. I'll say this, who wouldn't have agreed with them is Bruins fans, because if you look at it, say him, Bergeron, and Pasta and McAvoy left. The Bruins have 4 of the best players in the league, not in the lineup. They got taxi squad guys replacing them. No chance they make the playoffs. They're already barely there right now. So, yes, you were playing for your country, which in the end is something that everyone dreams of doing, like we mentioned with the World Juniors. Olympics is even beyond that. Best on best. Yes, I'm all on board on wanting to play for your country, but there would have been Bruins fans furious. And you could say now everyone agrees with them, but when you go and you're gone 26 days and your team goes 2-8, it's like, I don't know. It would have been a lot different had guys decided to completely bail on teams and they kept playing.
Yeah, so I think everybody's well aware of my opinion on this. I've kind of spoke more to like just keeping the NHL up and running because of what happened last year. I might sound hypocritical in defending Marchand, what he said. My whole idea of it all changes completely if I was in his shoes, given what I've done for that franchise and the value of the team. So the whole like having to eat it and essentially pay for the taxi squad in order to keep going, like I would say Marchand easily in his tenure as a Boston Bruin has probably added solely himself at least $100 million worth of value to that franchise, if not more. Would you not agree?
Whoa.
Oh, here we go. I knew you were going to fucking argue with me. Let's go. You're telling me for what he's done over the last, how long has he been with the team? 13 years. He's helped win them a Stanley Cup.
I think it's just impossible to.
Yeah, it is if you don't use your brain.
How do you figure? Give me a monetary reason for why it's $100 million.
Because the amount of playoff races they've been through. And the amount of tickets they've sold because of that, because their team's been relevant. This has been one of the best lines in hockey for a very, very long time. Pasta not included in the fact that how long he's been there, but he's also been there for what, 5 to 6 years making an impact. So these guys are the ones who are selling out the building every night. These are the guys who are getting the playoff tickets sold because they're making playoffs. I guarantee you each game each playoff game in Boston's probably bringing in $3 million. And they've been relevant for as long as they have because he's been one of the most reliable players over the last 10 to 15 years. So, yes, I think look at the franchise values and how much they've escalated in the time. Am I saying that it's solely just him? No, but he's been there their most reliable forward. I would put it even on top of Bergeron.
No, okay, so
why are you
Bergeron
laughing, G? Because I fucked up the name because I'm.
You can't say Bergeron's name, Biz, ever.
Bergeron, yeah, I always fuck that one up. I always think of
Bergevin in your mind sometimes, so I don't really blame you.
It's pronounced Bergevin.
If you just those two together, and like Chara, yeah, I guess if you group that core that had that 10-year like magnificent successful run, 2 cup finals, a cup win, or 3 cup finals, 1 win. I just think when you said just him, I my head exploded. But if you want to talk about 3 or 4 guys being worth 100 to 150 million over the course of the last 10 years, I'll agree with you.
I would say you could separate them, and each of them have added that much in value. Go back probably 12 to 15.
But without them all together,
that's fair, but he's one of the top players in the league and has been for a long time. So to think that he hasn't, buddy, look at that here. I'll give you another prime example. And this is obviously a different spectrum. Connor McDavid, look at the franchise. They got a new rink basically because they got him as first overall. And look what he's done. So for those guys to say, oh, now we got to cover the taxi squad if we want to get over there. And there he is still saying, fine, I'll fucking pay for it. And on top of that, Marchand has been playing at a discount. So if I'm putting myself in Marchand's shoes, everything that he said, he has complete right to say it. Although I've said everything from the ownership / league standpoint leading up to this point about, I understand why they didn't end up going to the Olympics. I understand why they had to put their foot down. They knew it was going to be a gong show over there and that it would probably end up dragging out where they wouldn't have access to these players. But for these players, the ones who lace them up and the ones that the fans come to watch, I think that him saying what he said, he has a big time point. And any of those guys, if they want to feel like that, they have every right to. And then the fact that they have to cover the cost of the taxi squad against, that's another one that in my opinion is bullshit. I think that the players have done a lot of bending in order to make everything work, including lining the owner's pockets with even more money. I think that he had his tweet I think he hit it out of the fucking park.
I think, I mean, McDavid's certainly a little bit of a different circumstance, and I believe that rink was already planned to be built before they got
fair
him.
enough.
But yes, I mean he's changed the entire organization now.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Do you know how much that the Edmonton Oilers pull in for a home game?
Probably $2 million a game.
2.7.
Yeah, I mean, so we can talk about them later. Oh
fuck! Sorry. Yeah, I know we got off the rails a little bit, but
John Cooper. That's who I wanted to bring up. John Cooper. Same thing. Kind of heartbroken. He had the chance to coach Team Canada. Something that he mentioned. Who knows in 4 years if we go, if I'm still the head coach. There's so many things that can happen. So clearly there was guys who were just so upset about the Olympics being canceled. And the way Marchand did explain it all, it certainly was hard to kind of disagree with him. All I was thinking about was in terms of fans of teams had like 4 of their best players just gone and the rest of the team stayed. It would have been kind of a disaster around the league.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the overarching point of what the players were saying, Tarasenko, Marchand, was just let the players decide. It should have been their call from the jump. That's what they agreed to, and it kind of got taken out of their hands. So let's see. What else? We got some other stuff here.
Oh, I got to squash a rumor. Going back to Gretzky, there's been a rumor buzzing around after the passing of John Madden, rest in peace, football legend, that apparently he had a rule in this RV that he would cruise around in. So John Madden was afraid of flying, so he would drive an RV to every game that he had to call. And there was one rule: you couldn't crunch a shit on his RV. And there was a rumor came out that Wayne Gretzky was one of the people that took a shit on his RV. And he was so livid. He's like, guys, I haven't even fucking been on that guy's RV. So I want to squash the fact that Wayne Gretzky, he did not take a dump on John Madden's bus. And that was a rule. So he did not break the cardinal rule of taking a deuce.
Breaking news.
And
Wayne
I want credit.
Crunch on
we
Madden's
want credit.
bus.
Right? All right. You let him know. We want the fucking credit.
Oh, actually, it's funny. There was some big news while we were with Billy Guerin. The next day, it come out that he extended head coach Dean Everson and his full staff. They gave him a multi-year extension while we were in Minnesota, which obviously well-deserved. His record for the first 99 games he coached there, 62, 30, and 7. You got to chat with him for a brief second, right, Biz?
Yeah. Everybody was joking around about the fact that he looks like Creed and how he ended up having to squash that. I guess he called in the team PR guy and he's like, yeah, this has been going on a week. Enough of this.
Hey, by the way, if you ever tell somebody or that you don't like a nickname, it sticks for life unless you're the head coach to the social media guy. That's the one person who can be like, I don't want to see any more tweets about Creed. But RA said it best. Once you see Creed next to Evanson, you'll never not see it again. It's wild how close. It's like I actually started laughing out loud because you could make the argument that it is Creed. He's an actual coach.
And their practice facility was cool. We were able to stop by, check out the practice. It's like you enter like a downtown business building. You take an elevator up a couple floors, and there's this rink there, and they let all the fans in. It was a pretty cool thing. We talked to a couple guys. We can't mention who yet, but also a couple of the notes we didn't get to, boys. We jumped ahead. We did axe throwing with Mark Parrish, local guy who played for the Wild, played for the Panthers. Have you guys ever done that before? I mean, I nailed my first 2 shots and then butchered everyone after, man. I don't know what happened.
I'd done axe throwing before.
I hadn't done it. A lot of fun. The Lumberjack in Stillwater, Minnesota. What a beautiful little town. I can only imagine this in the summer on the river or lake. I don't know, it was a body of water, but a very cool spot that actually opened up, I think, like a month before COVID hit, maybe January 2020. So hopefully they're kind of crushing it now, but it was a really fun spot. And I went with a one-handed throw. The girl, I think was it Sarah?
Sarah,
she taught,
the owner.
Yeah, she taught me the two-hand. But I ended up going with the right hand, just flinger. And I mean, listen, it's a lot harder than it looks. I'll say that. It looks pretty easy when guys are humming them in there at the bullseye. But it was fun. And Mark Parrish is a phenomenal guy who's been through a lot. I think he was sober last year. He's probably over a year now sober. We got to actually do a different style interview where we interviewed him while also having a competition with each other. Kind of went from a couple of his stories to some of the throws. And I had a blast there. So shout out to Lumberjack.
And we mentioned Billy Sushi earlier. We didn't mention who was there with us. Keith Ballard, another local guy who played a bunch of years in the league. We sat down, had a great conversation with him. He came to dinner. We had a great night with him. It ended up being kind of a slobber knocker that night.
And yes, course, we did talk about the Vokoun incident, so I can't wait for people to listen to that one.
And also, well, what you alluded to it earlier, ice fishing with Ryan Carter, the first ever Chiclets interview on a frozen lake in an ice fishing hut. Biz had the pole in the water. That wasn't a euphemism. He's literally had a fishing pole in the water. But just an unreal experience, an unreal day. It was like true Fargo weather. It was like Hoth out there. And Ryan Carter, your old teammate, what a beauty he is. I know.
Yeah, and I don't think Carter would take offense to this. There's probably a bunch of people, maybe, fringe hockey fans are just not diehard Devils or Ducks fans that don't really know who he is and don't know about his career. Played a long time, went to the Stanley Cup in Jersey. Some amazing stories. I thought he was a top-notch interview. Goes into some Randy Carlyle bits that everyone will absolutely love. And in the end, I mean, he sat down with us on a cold day and kind of taught us a little bit about fishing, ice fishing, and also did a great sit-down. So we had a blast.
Paul Martin stopped by ice fishing too. As well.
He's helping coach. He's helping coach the Gophers right now, where he ended up going to college and help out these young bucks. Now, we got to thank these people who helped us bring us out ice fishing. They set up with all the gear. They had the huts ready to go. The Clam 600 is what we sat in. They had the heaters. Chef Donnie was there with us cooking up the fish once we caught it. This was like the true outdoorsman experience.
Donnie even grilled us up some crappie after. We made some fish tacos.
Yeah, people said that we had crushed the entire day, really ice fishing style, until they saw us eating fish tacos. They're like, that's not usually part of the ice fishing experience, but we made it our own little thing with Chef Donnie killing it.
Yeah, unfortunately, my stomach was acting up for some reason. I know if I try to eat one of those, if I'm hungover with
for some
seafood,
reason?
I don't know. Must have got a bad piece of fish the night before. No, seafood and hangovers do not mix whatsoever. But I was kind of bummed out I wasn't able to try them. But I caught the first one of the day, right? G, you caught it. The Crappy Chronicles, by the way. If you're on YouTube, check them out. These guys, they have fishing guides. They summertime, wintertime, whatever, all 4 seasons. They show you all these little nooks and crannies to catch all the crappies. I think they call them crappies and we call them crappies. Is that basically an accent thing?
I have no clue.
Yeah. Either way, it was an awesome day out on the frozen lake with them. And we're not bringing them on quite yet, but a guy who played hockey in that state, TJ Oshie, is interviewed today. We've been burying several leads today. We still got a bunch of other news to get to, but we're going to have TJ Oshie teed up for you as well. So All right, boys, moving right along. What else we got here? Wait, you mentioned the Oilers. You might as well go to them. You already said something. They're scuffling right now. They're playing in New York Monday night. Does Whit need to order up an hearing or what here?
What do they got? Two wins in their last 11 games in regulation?
Yep, currently the second wild card team.
Guys, it's a panic. It's a little bit of a panic right now. Here's the thing. I'm not like Biz. I'm not going to run away and find a new team, right? I'm going to stick by this team. I'm not going anywhere, but I have to be completely truthful. I am nervous as all shit. I've almost kind of come to grips that I'll have an hearing for a month, a Barry Bonds style cross hearing. The issue being the start was that good. And now I didn't even kind of realize. I checked a bunch of different stuff today and was looking over their season so far. They started off 9-1. Right. And things were humming along. And the way that McDavid and Draisaitl were playing was just out of this world. Now, they're still playing great. They're not exactly what they were the first 10 games, but these guys are not the issue. We'll make that immediately clear. I think every Edmonton Oilers fan in the world knows that. But they were just that on fire. The power play was completely wrecking other teams, and they were flying around. Now, the schedule was a little bit easy. They had a lot of home games early. Since then, they're 9-13. In their last 22. So you're looking at an under 500 team through the course of almost like a couple months, it seems, if not 6 weeks, say. And if I'm looking at the bright side of things, it's like they lost Nurse, they lost Slater Cuckoo, they lost Duncan Keith to the entire left side of the defense. They lost Cody Ceci for a while on the right side. Guys have come back a little bit, but at some point they were without everyone. So that was a really hard thing to get through. Goaltending's an absolute disaster, which everyone kind of talked about going into the season. Mike Smith's an older guy, and he's had some great years, right? He's been an amazing pro. He's had some phenomenal success under Tippett. Since he's been back, he's got 5 games. He's under 900 save percentage. He's just beneath 4 goals against. So it's like they have to do something. Now, the immediate thing that all these Oilers fans are talking about, and I cannot say I agree with them right now, is they want a coaching change and they want to get somebody else in there, which, right, if you see Bruce, there it is in Vancouver, it's kind of hard to argue against that. But the Oilers have had about 14 coaches in the last 10 years. I exaggerate, but it's like at some point, I don't know if you continue to switch coaches and change coaches that if it's going to do anything. Like, they've tried this so many different times. And the fact of the matter is they don't have a goaltender. Their defense is thin, and the depth of the third and fourth lines is not great. So when you don't beat teams with your power play and you don't beat teams with McDavid and Draisaitl combining for 7 points in a game, it's really hard for them to win. Now, the thing is that's scary, right? Nuge has a long-term deal. Hyman, they just signed this summer. And if you look at them actually missing the playoffs in Connor McDavid's 7th year, that is beyond a disaster. That is possibly like McDavid saying, and I'm saying this on my own, I've never heard this. That is possibly him being like, I can't do this anymore. Would you blame him? I don't know. Like, it's pretty ridiculous at this point, considering they look the exact same way as they have years prior when everyone's talked about all their weaknesses as they continue to be there. So I was all confident with the start, and I'm an Oilers fan. I'm still confident. I'm wavering a little bit. I was also confident with the bet because I didn't think Calgary could keep this up, not thinking they have Markstrom, who's just a top-end goalie playing out of his mind with a team that's probably a little bit faster in the end. Besides those two guys, Calgary can play, dude. They're a quick team. Goudreau's having what looks like it could be a career year minus the 99-point season. And the Oilers right now, they play New York tonight. This is Monday night, excuse me.
It's going to be a big one tonight.
And they play Toronto Wednesday. I mean, good luck against Toronto. I mean, they got to win this game. Georgiev's playing, not Shesterkin. So I'm just at the point where it's gone on long enough where things continue to be the exact same throughout each year, where they come out guns a-blazing and then things kind of start falling apart. And then hopefully they get in the playoffs, but do they have the depth? So what happens to happen in my mind, it's not a coaching change right now. Put away the Babcock rumors because Ken Holland will bring them back. Get rid of that and make some deals. You cannot miss the playoffs in year 7 of McDavid. You got to get some goaltending help. You got to get some defensive help, and you got to get some depth up front, and then maybe things can switch around. The Anaheim Ducks are looking phenomenal. I thought they'd have some guys to trade, looking at Hampus Lindholm and Josh Manson on UFAs. Well, fuck, they're ahead of the Oilers in the standings in the Pacific. So are they going to be selling guys? I don't think so. It's just a scary time to be my left ear in the end. It is. I feel bad for this guy.
Hey, can we get a little round of applause here for that breakdown on the Oilers? Holy cow.
I'm still an Oiler guy, though. Come on, Oilers.
So when I don't see Ken Holland firing Tippett halfway through the season.
Not this year.
No, because I think it's the last year of Tippett's deal anyway, and he'll give him a chance to figure it out. And I would imagine, given the roster, that they're going to be in it to the end, even if they do end up missing playoffs. Goaltending, I mean, you hit it in the head. I was just concerned early in the season, and we all know this. There's so many penalties called in the first 20 games. Not at the pace that ends up happening the rest of the year in playoffs. And we saw how not only hot that power play was, but then all of a sudden you're not going to get as many of them. And ever since that's dropped off and the power play's cooled off, all of a sudden you see a below 500 team. So I completely agree with everything you said. They got to probably look to make a move. You mentioned Nuge. He's probably the one piece that I think that is significant that another team would want, given with what they gave him. Now, mind you, does he have a no move clause? Like, does he have a no trade?
I don't think you get rid of Nuge.
Well, who else are you going to trade to get anything remotely relevant in order to help your roster?
Prospects.
Man,
I don't think Bouchard. I mean, yeah, if you if you trade Nuge and you get a top end defenseman, I don't even know off the top of my mind who that would be. Maybe, but it's like you just signed the guy, really. So it's. Put it this way: the past two games, and now you're listening to Tuesday. So before the Rangers game, they had the Devils. They took a lead. They ended up blowing it. They lose that game in overtime. Hughes shot the puck directly into Mike Smith's stomach. It somehow went in. The Islanders game on Sunday, was it, or Saturday, was the most disgusting effort. The third period, dude, and kind of like not a must win, but like, let's get going here, Oilers. They didn't get a shot in the third period till there was like 6 minutes left in the game. So it's just. The craziest and scariest part, if I'm a real diehard Oilers fan, which I am, but I'm talking about guys that live like in Leduc that are just like living and dying with every single face-off. McDavid looks so disgusted on the bench sometimes, like the look of just like, oh my God, is this happening again? That's what's scary.
Well, what he's disgusted about is the fact that they're going to be battling for a playoff position, and Tip's going to have to play him fucking 28 to 30 minutes as a centerman, and he's going to be worn out, so he won't even be able to do what he can do in playoffs. The same thing happened last year. They're too one-dimensional, and that's what I mentioned earlier in the season. I think through fucking 10 games, if not 15 games, they were close to 50% on the power play. It's just – that's not how you're going to win games. They play too much for power plays and take advantage of that. So this is ugly, and I'm very happy about my bet looking back.
Nuge has a no move clause for the rest of the contract, which has 7 more years left on it. And listen, if I'm an Oilers fan, I'm looking at the Chicago Blackhawks in the standings. I'm seeing they're 12 points back of the wild card, probably not getting in. They'd be crazy if they're not going to unload Marc-Andre Fleury somewhere, get something for him if they're not going to make the playoffs. He's a pending UFA. That move, it seems like the most obvious move in the universe. But if you're fucking the Edmonton Oilers, you got to do what you got to do to make that happen, Biz, I think.
I would fucking love to see that. Where did you pull that one out of, RA?
I think it's just doing the obvious math. I mean, this guy's a world-class goalie. He's won Stanley Cups. He's been in the throes of the playoffs. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Chicago, they're already way back of the wild card right now. I don't think they're going to get better in the interim. So, man, I mean, he's unrestricted. You could probably cost you draft picks. That
would be a very good move for Chicago, considering they got him for basically nothing. Didn't they get him for nothing?
Yeah, future considerations, which was nothing. So yeah, if they can turn that into an asset,
what would you pay for him right now? Given the desperation, would you give up a first rounder for Marc-Andre Fleury?
I'd probably make a better like gas station attendant than GM. I'm so bad at stuff like this.
No, you don't even know how to pump gas.
No, I would. What?
You don't even know how to pump gas.
That's true.
That's why I said I'd probably make a better gas station attendant. I think that. Thanks for explaining the joke, though. I think that in the end, you can't go much more than like a third or second rounder. You can't give a first rounder up for a guy that might be there for 10 games if they miss the playoffs.
If they miss the playoffs, I think that the ownership group will clean house.
I can't even imagine this season with what they've did in the offseason, them missing this year. I don't even know where you'd go.
Yeah, I think they would have to clean house in order to keep Connor around for at least one more year. Yeah, that would be. Hey, that would make
clean house. It's like
That would be like Antonio Brown type drama. Maybe he'll just fucking peace out in the midst of a game at one time this season. Just saying, I've had enough. You guys can get Fleury. You can use me as bait. See you later.
All of a sudden, he's on a flight over to China. He somehow is playing in the Olympics, the only guy from the league.
He'd still win the gold for them.
We'd already dropped the Bruce. There it is for us. Well, Vancouver reeled off 7 straight under Bruce Boudreau. He tied the NHL record for the most wins in a row, starting with a new team. So kudos to Bruce for that. His 8th game was a shootout loss to LA. Vancouver come back, won the next game. So they've got 17 out of 18 points under Boudreau so far. Just 2 points back of the wild card. JT Miller has been an absolute monster for this team. Biz 11 goals, 25 assists, 36 points in 34 games. This kid, I don't think people are talking about how much he's been fucking outstanding for this team this year than you, Biz.
I was looking like an intelligent hockey mind again after saying that they shouldn't have traded for him. Now he's going to fucking single-handedly put the team on his back and lead him into playoffs, for Christ's sake.
He's done this to you like 3 times.
He's just playing with my emotions, for crying out loud. But I will say, I think that if they are on the cusp, that would be a great guy to trade to a cup contender in order to get a pretty big return. So I don't know, man, but with the way they've been playing, man, they're fucking rolling right now. And that's all it takes sometimes is a coach to come in there, loosen things up. I know we mentioned it on a couple podcasts prior to this, but even after dropping that shootout loss to LA, they ended up getting right back in the win column against Seattle. And to move away from the hot, to move away, what were you going to say? I was going to say to move away from the hockey side of it. There was a pretty cool story that we can talk about regarding the Seattle Kraken and Vancouver Canucks. And this is dating back to the first game of the season in Seattle. And RA, I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, really, really nice story. Heartwarming story. Seattle fan Nadia Popovich. She went to the game back in October versus Vancouver, and she's going to be going to medical school. She's volunteered at a bunch of clinics and stuff, and she noticed a mole on Vancouver's assistant equipment manager, Brian Hamilton. They call him Red. She saw a mole on his neck. So she was getting his attention during the game and kept banging on the glass and held the phone to the glass and said, "The mole on the back of your neck is possibly cancerous. Please go see a doctor." And she kind of highlighted the words mole, cancer, and doctor to really get his attention. He was kind of like, well, this is kind of odd. It's not a normal thing to happen on a hockey bench, but he checked with his significant other after the game. Then the team doctor said, yeah, that needs to get looked at. He got a biopsy done and showed it was cancerous, type 2 malignant melanoma. But because it was detected so early by Nadia, it was able to be removed and treated. So he didn't know who it was. So he went out, set up to find who his hero was. He posted a letter to Vancouver's Twitter. He said, "I want you all to know this isn't about me. It's about an incredible person taking the time to notice something concerning and then finding a way to point it out during the chaos of a hockey game. It took less than 3 hours before they found Nadia. And then they brought it at the next game. They chipped in $10,000. Vancouver and Seattle did toward her medical school. Hamilton said, "She extended my life. I've got a wonderful family. I've got a wonderful daughter. She extended my life. She saved my life. She didn't take me out of a burning car like a big story, but she took me out of a slow fire. She's a hero." Just an incredible story, man. This woman sees this guy with a dangerous situation. If you don't know about moles, man, you got to keep an eye on them. And ends up saving this guy's life. Just a terrific heartwarming story. And it's not often you see cancer and heartwarming in the same sentence, but that certainly applies here, Biz.
So already in the new year, one of the best hockey stories you'll hear, folks. And Red, I don't know if he was he helped out with the away locker room, but I'd met him plenty of times. An unbelievable guy. And, you just get to know all these guys who worked hard behind the scenes, and very, very awesome story about the fact that he was able to find that out and then act on it.
Yeah, looking out for a stranger like that, what a move by that woman. And also, like, timing is just everything in life. Like, what if he had like a jacket up over, if he had a jacket up over his neck that day? It's just so wild to think of had he never seen that, or had no one ever taken a look. So awesome story. And it's a great story when kind of hockey's involved, and it had gone completely viral. Like Good Morning America's talking about it and stuff. It was great to see.
Yeah, and as a guy who's like high risk for this shit, as you get older, man, you do get more moles and freckles, and like a lot of them are just naturally occurring. But you got to keep an eye on them. Visit your dermatologist if you have insurance. Don't be shy. Just go. They give you a full body scan, and because there could be something that looks innocuous that actually turns out to be harmful. But if, like in this case, you catch it early, you can save yourself because the skin cancer is a nasty motherfucker once it gets in there. So
I go every say 6 to 8 months, and even the dermatologist said, hey, you don't really need to come this much. I said, hey, listen, I'm outside in the sun golfing all the time. Insurance pays for it. She goes, that's great. She goes, it's already great you came in. And like you said already, the crazy thing is it could be something you don't even notice. And so definitely make sure you're seeing a dermatologist at least once a year.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm a son of Donegal, man. I can't afford to be in the sun too much. That's why I'm always pasty all the time.
Nice.
Right along,
just got a penalty 10 seconds into the game.
Let's see. Max Pacioretty, Vegas stud. He's going to be out indefinitely after undergoing wrist surgery. Pete DeBoer said it's long-term, week to week. He's not going to be an option for at least a month. He was the second star of December for the NHL, had 16 points in 12 games. Meanwhile, Mark Stone and Robin Leonard are still day-to-day. Former Vegas Golden Knight Alex Tuck made his debut at Buffalo last Wednesday. He had an assist in his first game. He's got 3 points already in 3 games. Great to see him back in the lineup. And he's genuinely what I'd say like a Buffalo fan. He's really happy to be there, really wants to contribute to this team. Everybody's been raving about what he brings to the team, his positivity. It's great to see him get back out there finally.
It's awesome. I think he's going to be an amazing player for Buffalo. We talked last week about how kind of excited he was going there. And I think you're looking at a guy who could be like a point per game player for Buffalo in the next few years. He skates so well. And if you've never heard our interview with him, go back and listen. And he talks about how he really learned to skate a new way. His skating improved immensely. I think it was with a woman, I don't remember her name, who really taught him how to skate, gave him the biggest weapon in his game now. So he looked great in the games I saw him play so far. And going back to Vegas, they are atop of the Pacific Division, which is the worst division in the league, but still they have done it with guys out all year. They haven't had their team healthy, I don't think, once. And now Pacioretty, who came back guns a-blazing, was running through the league. He unfortunately gets hurt again, but Eichel will be back in February. Look out. If this team can get healthy and stay healthy, could easily go to the Stanley Cup final. They are very good, and in the end, the rest might end up helping them.
Now, RA, the fact that Pacioretty's out and he's on long-term IR, is it going to end up being a situation much like Tampa, where I think when they acquired Eichel, they were going to have to figure out how to their cap situation because they were going to be over. But now with this injury and the fact that's long-term IR, I think that they're going to be okay, right?
Actually, I'm looking right now because when I put the outline together last night, he hadn't been placed on LTIA yet, but they must have done it today. So, yeah, they're basically going to put his money away. They'll be able to probably bring Jack up. Let's see. They got over $10 million in space right now on long-term injured reserve. So they can bring Jack up whenever he's ready. And then once the playoffs come, just do the old Nikita Kucherov sting from the rafters, drop him in for the playoffs.
But I think I was reading that Pacioretty could only be like 5 weeks, which is actually kind of when Eichel could come back. So maybe Pacioretty is actually 2 months, 3 months, and they won't have to do something. But I don't think it's out for the year in terms of like they won't have to make some sort of deal to get under the cap.
He's on IR. I take that back, but it's not LTI. He's only on IR. They put him on it today. So
yeah, it's not long enough, I don't think.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll figure something out. Somebody might get a little Vegas flu in between now and then, and like the Celtics used to do.
Yeah,
all the
us
time.
when we get there.
All right, a couple more notes for you before we slide over to TJ Oshie. Florida's Sam Bennett got a 3-game suspension for a check to the head of Cedric Paquette. I had no problem at all with this call, Biz. I mean, the head was the principal point of contact. I don't know if he was maliciously meant to do it, but the hit happened, and I don't have a problem with him getting 3 games for it.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit heavy. I don't know if he's got anything prior, but I get what you're saying. But there was a turnover. He's right in front of the net there, the other guy, and he puts himself in a vulnerable situation. And yeah, the way the other guy was positioned, it's like he had to hit that before he ended up making shoulder to chest contact. But the way that they're calling it now, I guess it doesn't make any sense for me to argue it. But I thought that 3 games was too many, just on what I saw. I did. Did you see the hit, Whit?
Yeah. And I thought it would be 2. I thought it would be 2 games, just the way it looked, and then like to slow down that replay. I thought 2. So in the end, 3 isn't that surprising, but I figured he'd definitely getting suspended.
No.
He plays on the edge, that guy. By the way, the Atlantic is so nuts. The fact that in the first round, it's either going to be Tampa versus Florida, Tampa versus Toronto, or Toronto versus Florida. You know what I mean? Like two of the three of those teams are playing in the first round. It's going to be nuts. That's why you got to try to win that division if you're in the Atlantic. Makes a huge difference getting the 8th seed or the 7th seed wild card over playing one of the Florida teams or Toronto.
I think same goes for the Central too. It's like you got to get that first spot because it's just going to be a battle getting out of the first round. The 2 and 3 seeds are nasty.
Get me horny for the playoffs already, boys.
We get there.
Alexander Ovechkin set the all-time power play goal record. He passed Dave Andreychuk Friday night in Detroit with his 275th power play goal. Now is 754 total. He's 12 behind Jaromir Jagr for 3rd all-time, and he passed Johnny Busick for 25th all-time in points. And we talked to one of his teammates recently, and we're going to send you over to that now, boys. Any final notes you want to add?
No, great segue.
Quickly, Ovi 275 power play goals is such a sick joke. I think he's going to break Gretzky's all-time record, but until he does, I'll say this: that record of power play goals, and he's not even close to being done, will never be touched. Same with the goals once he breaks that, but this one, closest current player to him, I think, is Stamkos, who's down 100. Fucking Rangers 1-0. Unbelievable. Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
So Stamkos is as close is 100 away from him. Think about this. If you get double-digit power play goals, that's a hell of a season. You got to get 27 years of those 10 power play goals a year to even come close to this. So just an amazing achievement by an all-time great. And let's go over right now to TJ Oshie.
Oh, hold on one sec, Whit. Before we send it over to him, we want to let you know that this interview is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big businesses. So upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Scaling your business is a journey of endless possibility. Believe me, this podcast started out selling, and today we're selling it, and we're not stopping there because success is a million milestones on a forever evolving path. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale. Reach customers online and across social networks with an ever-growing suite of channel integrations and apps, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and more. Gain insights as you grow with detailed reporting of conversion rates, profit margins, and beyond. More than a store, Shopify grows with you. So go to shopify.com/chicklets, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/chicklets right now. Once again, that is shopify.com/chicklets. And now it's time for TJ Oshie. All right, it's time to bring on our next guest. This right wing was taken 24th overall by St. Louis in the 2005 draft and joined the Blues after 3 years at North Dakota. After 7 seasons in the Midwest, he became a Washington Capital and had a huge role in the franchise's first ever Stanley Cup championship in 2018. And at the 2014 Olympics in Sochi, he put on a shootout performance for the ages. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, TJ Oshie. Thanks for joining us, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me, bro.
Pleasure, man. You guys are rolling right now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, squad's finding ways to get wins after, everyone in the league seems like guys got injuries or guys are out with COVID protocols. So hats off to a lot of the young guys that stepped in, and hats off to the big guns that keeping us rolling.
and all of this without Backstrom, which is, I know you guys have become real good buddies since you became a Capital. And is he getting ready to come back? Is he just itching for it, or what's going on with his mental state? He's usually pretty relaxed from what I know.
Yeah. Nick is battling back from this injury that he's had. And you see a lot of guys come back from injuries. I've never seen someone work this hard to get back. I mean, he's been, going on the road to see a specific, physical therapist, working out 6 hours a day. He's there a couple hours before we get to the rink, and he's there an hour after we leave. So hats off to him. And, you know, it's so great to see him healthy again and skating and back with the boys.
He probably can't wait to get back to that pregame ritual line, which, by the way, every single one of my questions this whole interview will be directed towards this pregame ritual. I got involved in a rabbit hole situation where I've been watching all of them. Why when you come out of the locker room, does Ovechkin sound like a printer? What specific noise is he making for you when you come out of the locker room?
It kind of started out, it's more of just kind of like, I don't know what you would call it with your lips, kind of like a brrr, you know. So I call him O banger, and so it became like banger, and so that's kind of our thing, going back and forth, and I don't know, we do it like 10 times a day. It's fun.
You guys have a bit of like a sumo wrestle sometimes. Like, so sometimes it's not as intense as the chest to chest, but sometimes he'll get pushing you back a little bit.
Yeah, it's sometimes, I mean, for me, it's borderline violent because he's a monster of a man. And yeah, I've even caught him in the face a couple of times with my helmet because my neck just can't stay back when he hits me. So I rebounds forward, and yeah, I think it's been a couple shoulder injuries for me, a couple chest injuries, but it's a fun ritual that we do.
Just battling through it.
What about when guys come to the team? Like, are you letting them decide what's going on in terms of how quick guys got to figure it out? Because at the beginning, they must just be like Biz when he had to go first in drills back in the day, just like lost and confused.
It's it really depends on, I think, the player. If it's an older guy, you usually work something out before you get going. If it's a young guy, you kind of just figure it out. Like Marty on our team, I kind of went through the first time and just gave him a little sack whack, and now that's kind of what we do. We just go back and forth.
So what happened?
Want a guy not as violent as Nick and Johnny, or as Ovi and Johnny, but
I was going to say that. You
just kind of figure it out as you go, you know?
Yeah, they got the original bag tap, and they were like, "Oh yeah, give it to me." And it's up. Next thing you know, they're gonna have like paddles out there on the ice, like in Dazed and Confused.
It's, you know what? It's insane how hard they hit each other in the cup, because I'm right there. They're 1, 2, and I'm the third guy out. I'm right there, and when they do it, it's like, I think the fans at the end of the tunnel can probably hear it.
With the music on. With the music on, with the cheer crowd going, they can hear the sound of a cup basically breaking. Oh my goodness, this is good. Okay, we'll call it. Although the last comment I want to say is Hathaway seems to have a lot of rhythm coming out. He's got a little swagger to him in the line where he's dabbing up the guys, maybe a little smoother than most.
I mean, you've seen his hair. The guy is smooth as ever. He you know what? I think he might have the best lineup of just different types of routines with the guys, different shakes, different chants, whatever. He's pretty creative when he gets in there, but I'd say he's probably the smoothest on the team. If we had to dance off.
He's an Ivy League guy, Bill. I mean, Biz played at Brown, so he's got the brains up top.
No. Wit, come on. He's a Michigan boy.
Garnet Hathaway?
Oh no, I thought you said Haggy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Biz. Did you say Haggy?
No,
You said Hath?
To be quite frank, I said Hathaway, but I can't even remember what I said. I was so engaged in what your answer was.
No, we'll be able to rewind. That's probably on me. I'm very forgetful.
No, that just means your boy Hags is just always on your mind. You were that impressed by him.
I'm always thinking about those golden locks. No, Hath's a good one. We have a couple violent ones with him too. He's a beast in his own.
TJ, I mentioned the hot start. Right now, Toronto's the only team in the league that has more points than you. I know there's still a lot of pucks left this season, but did you guys maybe feel a little overlooked heading into the season with, people's predictions and whatnot?
Not really.
Pay attention.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of us really pay attention. We're not a team of hockey nerds that's, checking the stats or watching other teams' games on like a night off. We have fun. We go to the rink. We have fun. We snap it around. We joke, we mess around. When 7:07, when the game starts, we turn it on, and when the game's over, it's back to relaxing and having fun and just enjoying being together. It's really a great squad and really fun to be a part of this crew.
Also, you got a big family at home, kids and dogs, and recently an unreal catch of, was it your daughter, as you just completely fell in your front yard, dude? I was watching on Instagram, like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was my little guy. That was a tough one. I don't know. We have a gravel driveway, and not like the tiny pebbles. Like they're like big, like almost dogs. Not golf ball, but they're big dogs. And I went down on the knee pretty hard. And I was going to Starbucks actually for the wife to get her, just to start the day out right, get on the good side. And turns out I had to. I think it was the day off too. But I ended up having to go to the rink and get some stitches in the knee.
Oh, you were cut that bad?
I got split right open. What a loser.
Oh my God. I thought it was just you hopped up pretty quick.
Yeah. No, it was little guy was laughing at me when we were on the ground too, which is the worst part.
Yeah. Hey, you just mentioned you're at home. I saw your house is also on Architectural Digest, and you actually did it a couple years back. Are you like really into that? Like you care about what the that's more delegated to the better half?
No, I couldn't be further from an Architectural Digest. Nice things in my house, because I'm a little bit of a slob, and I don't know. I guess I don't know.
You're like, can I chug a beer?
Here's a credit card.
Grew up in not a real nice house. That's kind of just what I'm used to. So no, that's the wife. She's got a real talent for it. Not only that, but just fashion in general. And she enjoys it and does a great job. So yeah, it was. I think it was a big thing and a big accomplishment for her to get us in the house in Architectural Digest, and something, she wears that a little bit as a patch of honor. She put a lot of hard work, a lot of stress, a lot of time into it. And I was just along for the ride, trying to not break the bank on the selections.
You're like, I'll cover the renos with all the winnings from the playing card games.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm almost in the plus now for my younger years in St. Louis.
You took a beating early on. Just the veterans always teaching the young guys how to play.
Oh, it was rough.
Who played Steiner on that team? Like, did he play in the card game?
Yeah, Steiner wasn't in right away. I played with BJ Crombie, Kelly Chase, who Kelly Chase can count cards, so it's not fair. He's like, basically at that time, he was like a 30-year veteran of 7 up, 7 down. But no, I being there, BJ Crombie always gave me a hard time, because I furnished his living room in like 2 months, my first 2 months in the game. But I'm turning it around now. We actually got a pretty solid game on our plane with the big dogs.
Yeah, Orp said he couldn't drag you away from the table. He said even one time you had strep throat and you were sick as a dog, and you're like, I'm not giving up my card game spot.
There's no chance. Actually, I broke my collarbone in playoffs broke my collarbone in like 4 places. And on the way back from Carolina, I still jumped in the card game. Just needed someone to deal for me.
Oh, hey, that's the best part.
You got like foaming at the mouth.
Oh, yeah. Dealing's the worst part. So you got out of all the hard shit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of I'm a little bit of a card geek. Like I like keeping score. I got the bridge shuffle. I try to make it like you're in a casino when I'm dealing.
One other thing that Orp told me, I don't know if this one's true, that, and you might have had it wrong, you mix Guinness and wine together as a drink?
Yeah, it's not an every time thing, but when the boys get
when your collarbone's broken in 4 spots type thing.
Yeah. No, when the boys get we got a green light in preseason. We stayed over in Carolina, and we were at just this kind of mom and pop Italian place, and there might have been a couple T-bones flying from table to table. And I decided to mix the wine and the Guinness. And that's actually kind of where the Hollow Man, that was the first time I did the Hollow Man for the fellas. pull the shirt over the head with wine and Guinness.
Oh, that's what it's called. The Hollow Man.
Oh, I thought it was the
Man.
Ghost Man. I like the Hollow Man. Yeah, that's
Hollow
the
Man from
Merle
the movie.
special.
Yeah.
You're just
bacon.
you're just a trendsetter when you're getting buckled, because you're also the guy who led the boys into the fountain after you guys winning it. I know we're fast forwarding here, but you're just up to your old antics when you get the booze in you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a Captain Coke guy typically, so that the sugar I think just gets me going, and just can't stop.
What kind of wine did you mix with the Guinness?
Screaming Eagle.
I'm not sure.
It was in a box.
It was
Red.
It was red. I'll promise you that it was red. And it's actually, you should try it one time. Maybe not your first drink of the night, but it's not as bad as you think.
This is how Pink Whitney was pretty much invented.
I just patented it, and we're coming out with a canned beverage, Josh. You got 10% of the deal.
We got a maroon Whitney coming out next.
Yeah, Runny Bum, Runny Bum sponsors.
A lot of people, they think of you with like Warroad and the clothing brand and where you're from in Minnesota, but you grew up in Everett, Washington. That's true. And how long did you live there before you moved up north in Minnesota?
I moved up when I was 16, so I was there a while. In between my freshman and sophomore year, I moved to Minnesota, and it was basically because hockey was getting so tough out in Everett. My parents split up. My mom had me go with her back to her hometown, which is like a small dairy farm town. I was the only person in the whole school that had probably ever even skated before, definitely that played hockey. And so I'd have to travel 45 minutes to my dad. My dad would pick me up, then 45 minutes to the rink. And, when you're young, those practices are like 9 p.m. And so then you'd have to do it on the way back. I get home at like 2 a.m. 2 nights a week. And then we had to play in a Canadian league. So I had to drive up to Canada every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, to play games. So it was getting pretty tough. And I have some roots on the Oshie side back in Warroad, and went out there for a summer camp, and loved it. It was amazing. I went out there a couple times when I was a kid. And so me and my dad ended up making the move. My mom, brother, and sister stay back in Washington, and Minnesota's been home ever since then.
How old were you when you realized you were probably head and shoulders above a lot of your peers?
When I what?
When you were realized you were a lot better than most of your peers that you were playing with.
It was. I wasn't much better. I definitely wasn't even maybe top 10 on the team when I got to Warroad. Those kids could skate like the wind, and they grew up with a stick in their hand. I was actually a basketball player growing up, and in 9th grade when I made the freshman basketball team, I told the coach, I was like, hey, just so you know, I have hockey practice on Monday and Thursday nights, and then I go to Canada on the weekend, so I'll have to miss some games. And I think he thought it was a joke, so he's like, all right, well, he had just given me my jersey, literally gave me, I think it was number 24, this jersey.
Kobe.
He was like, well, you gotta pick between basketball and hockey. And I was like, all right, fine. I remember I stood up at this little desk in this portal, and I just tossed his jersey onto his desk, and I just walked out and never talked to him again. And so that's when I decided, I was like, all right, I guess I'm just a hockey player now.
Who was your NBA comparator? Who'd you play like?
What position?
Gary Payton was
the glove.
Kind of my idol. Yeah, the glove. So I was big. I had pretty good handles, and big on the defense, and I'm obviously not the biggest guy. So
what about smack talk? Wasn't Gary Payton known for his smack talk?
Yeah, I'm terrible at smack talk. I'm the worst. Maybe the worst in the entire NHL at smack talk. I have nothing. I don't watch anyone. I don't know who anyone is that I play against. So I don't got any dirt. I don't look at their lineup. If we're matching lines, I don't know who I'm playing against unless they're one of the big dogs in the league. I just don't. I don't have time to watch hockey. So
okay, let me ask you this, because Whit knew the answer. Do you know every guy the way they shoot? Could you tell me every guy's curve in the league, or at least maybe the guys you play with, every guy in your team?
I could tell. Yeah, every guy on my team. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't name probably 100 players in the NHL.
This is what I was talking to Taylor Chorney, who you guys, I think, were freshmen together at North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chorns is my great guy, dude. Talk about a sick skater. I played with him in Edmonton, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, he doesn't even watch hockey or know anyone.
I've never been to an NHL game. I've never watched a game from like start to finish.
Not even when you were younger.
I was playing sports. I couldn't. That's literally all I did. I didn't have a lot of friends. Like, unless you were like on my team, or I was like, we were meeting up in like the neighborhood to like play basketball.
So I
didn't hang out with you.
So when you stopped playing basketball, did you become more hyper focused on hockey, or would you be the type of kid where in the off seasons you were just kind of, going around running with your friends, not really focusing on hockey?
No, because I had football, I had golf. So whatever season it was, that's what I focused on. And
we're kind of all in whenever you were doing it, right? Like your mind wasn't even on hockey.
Yeah, whenever I do something, I'm all in. I'm all more so like game stuff. I wasn't crazy about like, I wasn't training at like 15. I started working out when I got to, and basically Ironman at North Dakota, like in testing. That's when I first lifted my first weights.
And probably because you were doing all that stuff, you're probably becoming more athletic. Because Orps was even telling me that you're a righty, and he says if you pick up a hockey stick left, you can shoot a slap shot pretty much as close to as hard as you can a righty, and harder than most guys' actual slap shots. Yeah,
more like a one-timer or a slap shot lefty. Yeah, I can probably get it up there close to my righty. But stick handling's I'm not the best. Toe drag's a little slow.
Are you ambidextrous in anything?
No, not really. I'm basically right-handed in everything. I don't know. It just makes sense. You just hold tight bottom hand and let her fly.
And then I guess at a certain point, then you started getting recruited for college. Like, what ended up making you decide to go to North Dakota, having lived in Minnesota?
They were just the first team that asked me. I guess I didn't go on any visits. I was really like It sounds weird, and it sounds like I'm maybe, I don't know, not a smart guy maybe, but like I didn't know what, like they were just like, you want to come to North Dakota? I was like, yeah, sure. And then like I got drafted, and I was like, I don't know what the draft means. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I wasn't watching the draft. I don't like I just play. I just like playing.
Wow.
Is it no bullshit type? Just go out and get it done. I don't need the noise on the outside of what's going on.
Yeah, and my dad was very good at he's like he never let scouts talk to me in high school or none of that. I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. He kept everything away, never pressured me or asked me to do anything. So it was a good way for me, at least, to do it and just focus on playing and getting better and having fun with your friends.
Did the national team development program reach out at all?
I don't know.
If they did, I never heard about it.
I never checked the messages.
Shattuck, I think, reached out. I think I remember something about him saying Shattuck was interested. But we had lost. We won my sophomore year, won the state tournament, got upset my junior year, and so I wanted to go back my senior year. And we ended up getting it done and went undefeated that year and won the state championship.
That the one when you had the diving game-winning assist?
Yeah, that was
a beauty
one.
right off the face-off.
Yeah.
You guys see that at all? Whit?
Yeah, that the Minnesota State hockey tournament. I mean, we've brought it up before. It's one of the probably cooler things, I think, in not that it's youth hockey, but in the United States at least, because high school hockey's become so watered down, at least in New England and a lot of parts of the country. But Minnesota is just still so solid, and the fans go to those games. It's like that's something I wish I could have experienced at that age.
It was, yeah. I think my first time, coming from Everett to where you maybe have parents in the stands, but maybe not. Maybe no one's there. Parents are having coffee up, whatever, not watching the game. To go from that and then go there and, sold out for our game for single A, it was sold out bottom XL Energy Center for the lower bowl. It's just like, it's nuts. Yeah. And then you go to the double A and the whole thing sold out. It's it feels like your Stanley Cup. It feels like it doesn't get any better than that.
I might have missed it from a standpoint perspective, but like when you went on to lead everybody in high school hockey in Minnesota, is that kind of that senior year? Is that when they approached you about it? Had you heard before that?
I believe I committed after my junior year. So I think I played my senior year committed to North Dakota. But it was just like I went in for a game in the spring, I think, of my junior year. And then committed. They came to my school, whatever it is. I think there's like a date in high school when you can sign your letter of intent or whatever, or whatever it is. So I don't even remember. It was like September, I think. And they came in and was like, hey, would you like to come to North Dakota? And I said, yeah. And that was it. Signed some papers and away we went.
Did you have any appearances in any of those Minnesota hair videos that the guy does every year during the tournament?
No, I was little before that time. I did. My mom and I guess my mom and myself did start that. We were kind of, I don't know if we were one of the first teams, but we dyed our hair, blonde or yellow, I guess, yellow and black, because we were black and gold, and kind of went every other guy. And I don't know if that has anything to do with why the hair is all crazy now, but I do remember we were one of the first ones to do that.
When you were at North Dakota, did you guys win a national title? One of those 3 years? How did the career go there and the team do? Oh no. You didn't get one, did you?
What happened? What happened, Osh?
So we lost every single year in the first game of the Frozen Four to Boston College.
All 3 years?
You know how much that makes me sick too, Oshie, being BU? Like, that's fucking disgusting to me.
Gerby took it to us every single year. And it was like, we had like the big, North Dakota, like the big rough and tough, like, D-man were like 6'7", 6'5".
Commodore,
we
Matt
played
Green.
BC. They have all these little fast guys, and they would just come out. And I think one year we even played unbelievable, and we still lost like 6-7 or something. It was wild. But yeah, that was.
You just saying 6-7 is more wild than anything.
Definitely doesn't pay attention to hockey saying the score like that.
7-6. My bad, boys. My bad.
Oh shit! So when you left school, when you did, was that an easy call for you after the junior year? I mean, you'd done it all.
No, it was a pretty difficult call for me, and one that I probably regret. North Dakota was so awesome. Everyone feels like a family there. I mean, you were talking about Chorns. Me and Chorns went 3 years there together, freshman through junior year. We both left at the same time. He'd probably agree with me, I think. Wish we would have went back and gave it one more shot, but North Dakota, they do a good job of keeping guys, together after you're gone. We'll have a golf tournament. There'll be guys that played in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, thousands, and then all the way up to the guys that just, finished their senior year, and we'll all be mixed together, and it's a blast. So I regret, going pro, and at the time when you're young and, possible, big paycheck after living off of $40 a week. And, I mean, I understand why I did it, but looking back, I wish I would have went back for one more year.
Wow. Even the way everything went out, like, why? Just because you feel indebted to them about what they provided to your hockey career, or just given like the relationships you had there, like the boys? One more year with the boys.
I think it was both those things. I mean, my coach, before the season started, even my junior year, was like, hey, we're going to prepare you this year for the NHL. This is your last year here, So it wasn't a shock to them by any means, but I just missed the guys. You go from going to breakfast, lunch, and dinner with at least 13 guys. We had 13 kids in our class, so we had a big group together. And then you go to, when I went to St. Louis, we had an older team. We had Kachuk, we had Korea, a lot McDonald, a lot of old guys. Everyone had families. You just go back to your little condo. You kind of sit there by yourself, and basically just back then it was just Skype. You just Skype your buddies while they're all partying, and have a couple beers in your living room while they're,
Like, what am I doing?
yeah. And you're like, this
That's
is the
straight
worst.
loser mode. You're on Skype and they're at
NHL
the
is
bar.
not what I thought it was.
They got the laptop on the dance floor with Ocean.
Yeah.
Ocean
Oh yeah, they would too. They would.
Oshie's also paying for everything going on back in North Dakota.
Yeah. That was probably the best part, is going back after your rookie season, going back to North Dakota, and just, especially there, like, you pay for the whole bar for one night, not as much money as it would be going out for a couple of drinks.
$6
in the town. Yeah. In a big city. So
I actually looked through, just quickly while you were talking, I was looking through the rosters of North Dakota your 3 years. The kid Ryan Duncan was always up there in points. He never got played a game in the NHL. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it does. I think he had a chance to leave after our sophomore year when it was me, him, and Taves were on a line, and he chose to stay, and he actually came to, I think, St. Louis's rookie camp that year with me, and it's surprising. In our time, when I signed, the league was still pretty big. Like, guys, they still wanted big guys. They still wanted size, and I think that turned some teams away. But he had one of the most accurate shots of anyone I've ever seen. He had a small little sacket curve, went up to maybe my nipple height, and he had 100 flex and just hit a basic wrist shot, just a full, not even a snap shot, because he couldn't flex it. Just an old school wrist shot, and he would just set it wherever he wanted to. It was honestly amazing. But he went on to have a really good career. Played for the Red Bull for a long time.
Yeah, he played over in Europe for a while.
Yeah, he had a great career, and great player, awesome guy.
And before you got to school, had you played against Jonathan Taves in international stuff, or what was your relation to him when you first became teammates?
No, I think I might have played against him in elite league. What would have been a year before we started our freshman year. But no, I just heard he was kind of the big name coming in, kind of the next Zach Parise of North Dakota, and he lived up to, he was fantastic, still is. But it was just crazy seeing, this 17-year-old. I think he finished high school in 3 years, and came to North Dakota. So it was amazing seeing, this kid that, who I felt was younger than me and should be in high school, but yet he approached the game in such a professional way, which is not the way that I did. So it was amazing.
You're like, we have a game tonight, Dave?
So it was, we had a lot of battles. We kind of went head to head a lot, not in a bad way, in just a competitive way, on the ice, and, in between classes, go on the ice and do, have shooting competitions or stick handling competitions, whatever it was. So I think he is a big reason why I grew a lot at school that first year, and hopefully he feels the same way about me.
TJ, you never spent the day in the minors, but those early years in St. Louis, did you ever come close to it or get threatened with getting sent down at all?
Nope, I don't think so. I probably deserve to go down a time or two. I came into the league into St. Louis. I believe they got 13th in the West or whatever it was the year before, and so I think they were really trying to get us young guys experience, and I was just fortunate. Some guys are really good players and they get drafted to really good teams, and they got to play 4 or 5 years in the minors. I got an opportunity right away and tried to make the most of it.
Well, I know you said you were so young and missing partner with your buddies, and most of the time the guys were with their kids at home. When you got on the road, did you start experiencing pro life a little bit? I mean, I feel like Keith Tkachuk's a bit of a throwback, where at least you guys would be rounding up on the road for a little bit.
Yeah, Big Walt, he sent me to my room quite a bit to make sure that I was going to make the bus in the morning. So there wasn't. I didn't ever went out on the road really my first year or so. I don't know if it's because our team was older or they just didn't want to, any
Deal
bad
with
habits
you.
rub off on the young bucks or what. But we had a couple good nights, but for the most part, we kept. I mean, as far as I remember, it was pretty tame for me my first couple of years, at least on the road. At home might have been a different story.
Did any vets sort of take you under their wing, show you the ropes, or did you like kind of bond with any older vets when you got there?
I bonded really well with Danny Highnote. He was the one vet that wasn't scared to, tell Kachuk or Korea or whoever it was to stop, to leave the young guys alone. He'd always grab us and be like, well, that's enough. These are my rookies. And he'd grab me and pull me aside. And, he was one of the guys that kind of started my pregame routine with all the handshakes and all that stuff. He had a high ankle sprain, and he was the guy that took everyone out on the ice. And he asked me to do it maybe 20, 30 games in. And then I took the boys out from then on, and for 7 years in St. Louis. So he was very instrumental in just kind of grabbing me and telling me, he liked to have a good time too. And he just kind of, I guess, mentored me a little bit on my approach to the game, my energy, how you show up at the rink. So he was a big part of that.
Hey, Korea would get at the rookies a little bit.
No, I mean a little bit. Yeah. Just a little, not necessarily hazing, just, making sure that we knew what place we were in and
For sure.
how many games we played. It's not like that anymore. I'll tell you that.
I was gonna ask you, like, without being like the boomer guy, but is it not at all existent really, where you're like your first 10 games, you're just like going up to eat first at buffet and everything?
Yeah, it's it's not the same. I think I don't know if it started in juniors, if these junior kids are. I'm pretty sure in
It's
college,
OHL guys, like Biz's fault.
Yeah.
It's when they put the neck guards back on them.
strong. And I think in college, like the freshmen, they still got to do like a bunch of stuff, and they have to sit down until everyone else is done eating and all that stuff. But a lot of these kids come in and they just, there's food here. All right, I'm gonna go eat because I was at the front of the bus and I got to get off the bus first, or I'll go up the elevator first. A lot of that stuff it's not like it used to. I don't know if the veterans are too soft these days to enforce it, but I hope
Don't want to get an HR complaint.
starts it and it gets back to the old ways.
You played a few years under Ken Hitchcock. A lot of guys seem to have a good time under him. What kind of motivation tactics did he use on you?
Oh man, you know what? Me and Hitch got along really well, and I enjoy. We chatted quite a bit actually off the ice, but I remember he would always say to stop dingle dangling and to just give them the puck because they'll give it back. And I remember always thinking like, Hitch, I have the puck. The puck is mine right now. Why do I have to give it to them and get it back? He's like, no, you're a forechecker. You're a great forechecker. And so that's what that's obviously not the voice you did it in, but so I think in those years, I kind of lost a lot of my offensive creativity, and it's like my career kind of slowly started to whittle away. Maybe not in the numbers, but just in, I feel like my creativity and the excitement,
confidence, even
the confidence, a lot of confidence. And when I got traded to Washington, it was the exact opposite. They actually came up to me after like 10 games. They're like, hey, we know that you're going to back check, so try to make more plays. Just do whatever you want to do out there. And it took me a good 45 games, maybe even, a couple of years until I really got that voice out of my head. Like, don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. You can make plays again. So it was a big move for my career and just for me to just enjoy playing hockey. When the
trade chatter started getting pretty heavy in St. Louis, like privately, did you want to change the scenery? Did you want to get out of there?
No, I'm pretty loyal to the team I'm with, Yep. I always imagined myself being a Blue forever. And once I got traded, I honestly felt bad. I felt like I let, the Blues down, the organization, the guys that drafted me, my teammates, the fans were so good to me, like honestly, way too good to me. And I felt bad that I never got to to win a Stanley Cup there for him. And, you know, that lasted a little bit. And then once you realize you're going to be playing with Backstrom and Ovechkin, you know, you kind of get a little excited. And, but it was, I took it pretty hard for a little bit. And, you know, until I saw the excitement in DC for me to go there, it was a little rough.
And you get over to Washington, like the first 2 years you were there, I think you won the President's Trophy, but lost in the second round. And are you feeling like, all right, this is our year, and then all of a sudden it ends quickly again? You're like, we have a Stanley Cup in this room. Like at some point this is going to happen. Was that the attitude, even as difficult as it is losing in those tough early playoff exits?
Yeah, I remember going in to talk to Mac, our GM, and you know, there were some big. We had, you know, it was the 2-year window. Everyone's talking about this 2-year window with me. Justin Williams' deal was up. A couple other guys' deals were up, and I went in, and it's actually a better story, but maybe I'll save it until the career is over. With the first exchange with
great.
me and Mac.
Give our fucking listeners blue balls. Great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No worries.
I like the tease. Just make them come back for more.
Yeah,
next
hit me
time.
in the dick again, just like your fucking pregame warm up routine, buddy.
But no, and I sat down. I told him that I wanted to come back. Probably not a great bargaining tactic, but I wanted to come back, and I told him I thought that we could win Stanley Cup, and I told him I thought we could win a couple with the crew that we had. And so sure enough, next year, I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, but we win it. And the first time I see Mac, I gave him a big hug, and I kept yelling, I told you, because you could feel it in the room that we were right there. And if we could find a way to beat Pittsburgh, you know, Pittsburgh was on top of the world at that point. If we could find a way to beat them, then no one could stop us. And that's really how it played out.
Can we go back to that? I just want to go back to the Hitch stuff. Like, as a player, and you seem like a type of guy who obviously falls in line and you want to do what's best for the team, was it a little bit frustrating, like given that you maybe wanted to be more offensive, and like, would you sit down with him and have long dialogue about why you thought maybe you could be able to make more plays, or did you eventually just kind of give it up and then you settled in on being that forechecker type?
Yeah, I think eventually I did kind of just give up. But it was, we would talk about it. And I mean, the power of video for coaches is always, you know, it's tough to argue against, because they got the pause button there. So, but he saw, I think, my work ethic on the forecheck and on the back check and kind of defensively and stuff like that. So I think I realized, or what he explained to me, is that basically if I could just get it behind their D-men, I could work hard enough to turn it over, and then we'd be in the O-zone, you know, a better chance than me trying to toe drag a guy and get it in. So looking back, I mean, he's got a great hockey mind. And maybe our team at the time wasn't, you know, a top end skilled team. We were more of a blue collar type team. And I don't know if he just wanted everyone to play in that same way, but it definitely, you know, it made hockey not fun for a couple of years there.
Sorry to be a buzzkill when we're talking about the cup run.
No, you're good, baby. You're good. I'm over it now.
I want to ask the Eastern Conference Finals versus Tampa. You guys had a 2-0 lead. You blow that. You're losing 3-2 in the series. Was there kind of a feeling in the room of, oh no, here we go again on the cusp of losing?
No, not even close. I alluded to it a second ago, when Kuznetsov scored that overtime goal for us to beat Pittsburgh, it was like, no matter what, we're winning. And it was amazing. There was like no frustration, no matter what. Like, and if guys made mistakes or had a bad game, it was just like, all right, I'll pick you guys up next game. And they literally did it. It was like all the cliche sayings of, you know, whatever it is, like we were doing it. It was amazing. But we were 100% sure had this conviction about us that no matter what happened, we were going to win. It was a really cool feeling.
Everybody kind of like alludes to maybe one of the aspects of winning is like Ovi like really changed his game. Do you think it's more of a no? It's like we had an unbelievable core group where everybody just kind of stepped it up, or do you think that Ovi, in fact, like he did make adjustments where he sacrificed personal stuff for the betterment of the team?
I think Ovi definitely elevated his game. I think it's no question, but I think everyone did. I think everyone played like a playoff style game. There wasn't one guy that was shying away from being hit. There wasn't one guy that wasn't going to give a hit. Ovi's block, I guess a lot of it you could look at does have to do with Ovi, because if you see Ovi going out there blocking shots and you're a guy that had 12 goals in 82 games, like, and you don't go out there, you don't block shots, then it looks bad and you feel bad, you feel guilty. So it was everybody just kind of everyone elevating their game and not doing anything really that special, besides, the talented guys doing, their thing. Everyone just kind of was on board with our game plan. Everyone knew what to do in every situation defensively, 5-on-6, 6-on-5, penalty kill, power play. It was just kind of an all-in moment. And it was cool to see, because there's a lot of years where we thought that was the year, not only in DC, but in St. Louis. So when you finally see it come together, it feels really good to be a part of.
When you got there and like actually got to witness Ovechkin daily and like every single game, see the pace he plays at and how he can score, it must have been, were you just kind of shocked, because it's like 50 goals every single season while running people over? Like what is it actually like to see him do that daily?
It's it really feels like you're watching history and in practice. Like there's nothing I'll ever see in my lifetime like what I'm seeing right now and what I've seen over the years. As far as being this close to really, greatness. And I don't want to pump Ovi up too much, but it's really what it is. I don't want to say pride myself, but I was pretty proud of kind of being the guy that would always just, whatever you do, kind of like find a way to like win things, whatever it was. Could be throwing a tape ball into the trash can. And I remember like buddies always being like, pissed off at me. It's like, God, why do you always have to win? Whatever it is, golf, whatever.
It's so competitive.
And I lose, but just super, super competitive. And then to get to see Ovi, and now I know how like those guys felt, because like he just wins in like whatever, like cards. If he's paying attention, he's probably going to win. He's going to get the best cards. He just is. Like on the ice, if he wants to score, he's going to score. It doesn't matter what the other team does. So it's a treat. It's awesome. Really fun to watch.
And
Grinelli, I know Grinelli wanted to jump in with a question.
Oh, gee, what do you got?
I don't know, boy, G.
So I was watching the game on ESPN the other night, and the rinkside reporter said that he had Pepsi in his water bottle, but he happens to prefer Dr. Pepper in his water bottle during the games. Like, what do you think of him just like sucking down sodas during the games?
He's not human in any aspect of life, I don't think. Like he was, I don't know what kind of testing you can do to make like a Superman, but like he just runs on different fuel than the rest of us, and he is made differently than the rest of us. I thought it was just funny at the start. Like I didn't know, your first game, you see him, slugging a Dr. Pepper right before you go out. But he's, he does his thing, and he has a way of doing things. He's very, not superstitious, but he just does things the same way, I guess. And, it works for him. And you can see it's tough to stop.
Another guy too, you've gotten to see the evolution of Tom Wilson, and like even where he's brought his game offensively, like he's probably one of those pieces that is probably one of the biggest as far as maybe if you guys were to able to get another Stanley Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. He brings so much to our team. The guy could play 30 minutes a night and probably not be tired. Like he's an animal. And it's really, I think for me, it's fun to see him get some offensive recognition for the things that he brings to the team. Because, I mean, he plays with Kuzi, and he clears a lot of space and he gets a lot of loose pucks and he maintains a lot of offense for those guys. But you don't really talk about that because obviously you got a guy chasing Gretzky with goals and you got Kuzi who, can dance and skate like the wind. So, but it's great to see his game evolve, even like, he tries even not to like hit guys anymore because he's just too strong and he's like going as fast as he can skate. Like he just ends up catching guys at the wrong spot. You know what I mean? So, but to see from, how much hatred he has to him have some success and finally, get some points on the board. It's fun to see. I keep the right side pretty tight where, right side takes care of each other. And so, it's great to see him, flourishing offensively, also being just a big leader and part of the leadership group on our team.
We kind of left St. Louis, but in your time there, we got to experience one of the most legendary Olympic ice hockey moments, I would say. And I rewatched that shootout against Russia where I think you scored 4 out of 5, was it? And I'm so curious, like, when did you realize you were going to be going every single time, or did he never even tell you, just kept calling your name again and again?
He didn't. I assumed after I went first, and we worked on the shootout in our practices, and I ended up doing pretty good against our goalies. So I had an idea I was going to be going in the shootout. I didn't know I would be going first. And then when I scored my first one, I thought maybe that he would come back to me and have me go in the 4-hole if we had needed extra innings. And then after that, I literally, every time I shot, I didn't know when I got back to the bench if he was going to call me again. Because I missed twice, even though I was like, pretty happy with the moves that I made.
Yeah.
And I was, I don't know. I was literally just waiting. I think after I missed 5, I thought maybe that was it. Missed my 5th shot, I believe. Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, missed my 5th shot. I was like, all right, he's gonna go to Kane. Like, why isn't he going to Kaner? Like, or anybody, one of these other guys. And he called me out for 6, and I figured that was enough time since I did my first move. So I was pretty confident on the 6th one.
Were you surprised the Russians went to Dats, like from Kovalchuk to Datsuk back to Kovalchuk, and not stick with Kovalchuk the whole time?
Not really. I really wasn't paying too much attention.
Figured. He's like, we were playing Russia?
Yeah. I didn't know who they were.
I wasn't. Yeah. Like I didn't. I don't know. I didn't know that I was shooting on Bobrovsky. I didn't know I was going against Bob. Like I just don't. But yeah, I did the shootout. I don't know if it was the summer before, a couple summers before, and I scored 3 out of 5. So I knew the format and everything, so I was pretty comfortable with it.
Now, at what point do you know what move you're going to go with? Is it right when you're at center ice? Is it when you're coming down? Is it different each time?
I have an idea when I get the puck before I start, and then depending on if they come out or stay back in their net, or sometimes they do weird stuff like Fleury and Smith. I think sometimes they'll like put their glove over their 5-hole to try to get in my head and stuff. But typically, I have a pretty good idea, and then about the hash marks, I make my final decision and just go with it.
That Olympic, you guys lost in the semifinal to Canada 1-0, right?
I think we lost in the semis to Canada 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been heartbreaking, huh? Like, because they went on to beat Sweden, like you were that close to getting to that gold medal game.
Yeah, that was. It was a tough one. Canada, their team's always.
I know, they're just loaded.
So good. Yeah.
Osh, what would you do if you weren't playing hockey?
Like if I never started playing hockey, or if I wasn't playing hockey right now?
Yeah. So just chitting away from the hockey chatter right now. Like I'm curious to know if some guys.
I would have probably done something in basketball. Like my dad played like community college basketball. He's actually in the Hall of Fame in Everett there. I'd be doing something in sports. Definitely nothing that had to do with like a 9 to 5 job where you got to think or do paperwork.
Could you dunk? I know you're not like super tall, but you're athletic.
No, I dunked. I think I maybe like once or twice with like a volleyball.
I was gonna say a Nerf ball.
Yeah, with a volleyball. I actually had pretty good hops back in like senior year of high school, freshman year of college days, but they're gone now. Promise you that.
Have you ever chatted with Bobrovsky at all after that Olympic tournament, maybe during a game or during, I don't know, an all-star thing or whatever, just about the whole experience?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've chatted with O about it a little bit, just because he was on the bench there too, but no, not much.
What about
one more thing? One more thing about
go
Ovi.
ahead, buddy.
The day we're recording here, he tied the power play goal record last night for the NHL. He's actually leading the league in scoring, second in goals. Like, how long do you think he can go at this pace for as a 36-year-old guy already?
I mean, I think it's up to him, really. If he trains like he's been training these last couple of years, I don't think that number where your typical NHLer starts slowing down. I don't think that'll hit him for a while, as long as he wants to, push it back. So I think it's really up to him. I don't see his goal scoring going away anytime soon. Just because his release and his hunger to score goals. But if he keeps his body, in good shape and trains hard in the off season, I think he'll fill out his contract, still putting up 30 in the last year.
Do the Russian guys bring weird exercises to the gym? Like, are they doing different stuff than the North American guys?
Not really, actually.
Other than the gas?
No, I'm kind of the only weirdo with the ARP. I think everyone else is.
You
kind
still
of
use the ARP
stuff? Yeah, I'm still on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you describe what the ARP is to some people who are listening who have no clue? It became like a new method of training, and I want to say it became familiar with hockey players that were around the North Dakota, Minnesota area.
Yeah, a lot of mini guys jumped on board. I guess the simplest way I could put it is like an ultra stim machine. And then I've been using it for 6 years now, 6 years. And I couldn't write myself a program with it. I need like my trainer, the guy that I work with, to write my programs for me, because I just don't have enough experience with it. But based on the very simple ways, I put it on my muscles and, fire them up, contract them, and get them ready to go. But there's a lot of other things that's wrapped into it, with your nervous system, with recovery, so many different things.
I saw Luch had one of those the bandages on his forehead whip before one of the games. I'm like, Jesus, this guy's gonna electrocute his brain before we get out there going.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean,
gotta turn the brain on, Biz. That's the most important piece.
My favorite one is when I'm not really feeling quite into it, or you come back from a concussion or something, you throw it 2 on your forehead, 1 on each side, and you read a book backwards for 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness. That's how you hit the reset button?
It sounds like it's like from South Park.
And if it doesn't work, then you hit the Guinness and Screaming Eagle mix.
It is crazy, but I tell you, if guys, are hurting or they have something bothering them and they can't seem to figure out what it is, they always slide my way, and I find it right away with the ARP. And I think I had who was I doing the other day? It's called a search and destroy. But anyways, he was in tears. He had a tear coming out of his eye when we were done, because it's painful.
You better be careful. Obi's going to be asking for it on his ball bag in the pregame warm up intro. Give me the ARP. Crank it.
It does. No, I don't know if I'll let him. It doesn't. It's not pleasant. I promise.
Yeah, you know what? Sticking all the hairs, that'd be a tough way to rip off. Like the old Band-Aid. Who's got the ox core in the locker room? What kind of you guys into the big booty mix? What are you guys getting down to?
Tom Wilson and Ovi have it on game days, and I'm a pregame skate and road practice day guy. I hate doing it. I was just kind of nominated, and because I'm a full country guy, I just listen to country music, and I mean, Ovi doesn't like country music, so I got to find other things. So I usually have one guy give me a decade and another guy give me a genre, and then I pull up an Apple playlist and play that for the boys that day. We had 60s love songs the other day, and it's actually a phenomenal playlist, by the way.
Yeah, group effort. Sometimes you need the other guys chiming in and get the different flavor going. Now, is Ovi going hardcore Russian fucking beats, club beats?
No. O likes it all, I think, except for country. It's like he'll do the techno stuff. He'll do Lil Wayne. He'll do Britney Spears. He'll do it all.
Are you into outlaw country, new country? Which kind of country you into?
I like a lot of older country, 90s, 2000s, and then big fan of Luke Combs right now. I think that guy's unbelievable. Number one all time for me.
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs.
Yeah, I think that Caleb, our buddy at Barstool, just interviewed him. He does a Sunday morning conversation. It's actually hilarious. And Luke Combs seemed like the man. I had never even really heard of him. I checked out his Spotify because of that interview. He's money.
He's phenomenal. That guy. I even his videos on Instagram of just him and a guitar singing. It sounds like you're listening to a CD. It's phenomenal.
Are you that hardcore where you're watching the CMAs and you kind of keep up with who's winning all the awards?
No TV for me. I'll watch shows sometimes in bed, but 3 kids now, baby. It's just not. There's no time for to do anything.
How much does the 3 kids affect your golf game in the summer? I know you're a good player. You play out in that American Century Classic. Are you still getting out there a lot in the off season?
No, I usually get 4 or 5 rounds before that tournament, and I tank every year.
No way, really?
Yeah. But I'll play maybe total 20 rounds a year, which I mean, okay. I think that's pretty good with sprinkling 4 or 5 during the season. So, I just joined a course in DC though, and the kids are kind of getting to the age where they can maybe start coming to the course with me. So that'll be the ticket right there.
G shot me a text and reminded me to ask you. We were talking about the Olympics, and you had that famous line about who the real heroes were. Obviously afterward, you're probably, you get asked a question, you say something like that, ends up going viral. It's probably a good feeling knowing that you brought a lot of people joy.
Yeah, well, I think going through the Olympic orientation stuff and meeting with Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, hearing them speak, I think you just have a different appreciation when you hear their stories. And when I think of an American hero, it's definitely not me, and it's not an athlete by any means. So that's kind of what came out, and it wasn't meant to. I mean, I didn't say it to go viral, but I'm glad a lot of military and military families appreciated it, and I have so much respect for those guys. And I don't know, I really enjoy seeing people kind of just bear down and bring themselves to a different place competitively. I guess competitively is a way you could say it. Bringing themselves to a different place that a lot of people can't get to, and those guys bring it to a place where I'll never be able to get to, and that I'm kind of almost jealous of that. That you'll never know what it's like to be at war and have the guy next to you, have his life in your hands, vice versa. I think that's the ultimate, kind of the ultimate, not really sacrifice. It is, but just the ultimate competitiveness and where they must be able to get their minds to be successful in that.
How do you feel about shootouts ending playoffs and tourneys? I know it doesn't happen in the NHL, but international tourneys or even other sports.
I'm not into it. I think regular season's nice. I mean, the guys a lot of times is a back-to-back. You got to get out of there. I think it's a fun way for me personally, because I love shootouts to end a regular season game. But when it gets to playoffs, I mean, I've heard and seen clips, never watched, but the actual full game, but you hear those games of going into, 5, 6 overtimes. The guys they're playing at like 2 a.m. Like, I feel like that's the way a playoff game should end, 5-on-5. Not just a guy and a goalie.
And after that cup win with Washington, did you ever have a bender to that extent before? Quite like that?
Yeah, every week at college after.
Yeah, he's like, I went to North Dakota. All right, what do you think?
I know.
You're not here for the start of the interview.
It was no. You know what? It was only for me. It was 2-3 days, and then I hung him up for a little while, and so that was maybe 3% of my best one.
I think Grinelli had another one for you, Mikey.
I did. We mentioned War Road earlier, and I know you started up that War Road clothing company, and how did that all come to be? I know you mentioned earlier your wife's the fashion in the family, but is that her? Is that you? Like, who's running all that?
No, so that's me and my partners. I was approached with the idea, and they wanted to name the company War Road. I love the idea, but I wanted to run it by my high school buddies first. Being that I was an import, as they said, or as the other team's crowd chanted when I was on the ice. So I asked them, and they thought it was that they loved the idea as long as we gave back to the town. And so I brought that to the partners. I was like, I'm only in if we give back to World Hockey, and we've done that through different things, through some fundraisers, some other things. Portion of sales goes to World Hockey, World Youth Hockey. I don't know if you guys know, but everyone in World skates for free. No one pays for ice ever. Wow. So that's why.
That's nice.
It's, as a donation from the charity?
The town. I mean,
wow, really?
Marvin's have a lot to do with it, but the town, no one pays for ice.
How many people live there?
The sign says 1722. So 1,722, but I think it's a little above 2,000 now. But yeah, no one pays for ice. There's ice all day, every day. There's 2 rinks for 1,700 people and an outdoor rink. It's hockey heaven up there. But yeah, so we started the brand, and it's been fun. I felt like there wasn't like a clothing brand for hockey players, or I guess rooted in hockey. That wasn't. There was more, I don't know, I don't want to say like higher fashion, but somewhat, higher fashion, Lulu-esque type athleisure wear. And so I just kind of wanted to bring that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I talked to the partners, and they let me know that I was coming on Spittin Chiclets, and they're all freaking out and jacked up about it. Everyone's huge fans of the pod, and they wanted to give all of your fans a discount at Warroad if they would like.
Let's go. Biz20 promo code. Hit them with a fucking promo
20%
code.
discount.
That's what's it up. That's an entrepreneur right there, boys.
Yeah. So 20% discount, warroad.com/SC.
We're going to go even further.
There.
TJ's even going to drop it off. He's going to drive it to you. He's going to do all the deliveries, folks.
All the deliveries. Yeah. So, but that's for your fans, and hopefully we can maybe steal a couple. I don't know. I think that's how business works, right?
That's what I'm talking
about. But yeah, so it's been so much fun, and we've been able to give back a bunch to the ADDF, Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation, after the stuff that I went through in my family. So it's been awesome, and we've ended up getting some undergear stuff that I designed to get some cut-proof wrists, an extra sleeve to hold your elbow pads back, so guys don't got to sit there one hand taping elbow pads with sock tape. So it locks your elbow pads in place. Super comfortable, and I'm a big sensitive skin rash guy, so we made all the material not rash proof, but has improved for me and a lot of other guys in the league that have found out about it, have ordered it.
Is it true that
I was getting them from other places?
I'm sure you were.
True that your TJ name actually came from a movie that your mother gave you the name from a movie?
Yeah. From
the Champ, right?
The Champ, yeah. From The Champ. My mom liked I honestly
RA was an extra in that movie.
Not at 6 years old. Have you ever seen it? Ricky Schroeder, John Voight?
I've never seen it, no. But I was Timmy growing up, like when I was really young. My family called me Timmy, and then she saw that movie. I think I was maybe 4, and then just started calling me TJ. Junior's not in my name. I'm just Timothy Life Oshie. So we tacked on the junior. So really everyone's just calling me my nickname, which is, I don't know, works out, except for when I got legal documents.
Yeah, if you do check it out, man, make sure you get the Kleenex nearby. I'll leave it at that. not those kind, Biz.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, what about this? I want to ask this one last guy, 20-year-old rookie in your team, Alexei Protas. This kid's a monster, huh? Like
he's a big boy. Yeah, he's going to be. I think he's one of those guys that when I feel like he might still be growing into his body just a little bit. I think he's really good right now. He's got poise, got a good shot, obviously long reach. He can skate really well too. I think in a couple of years he's going to be a really solid power forward for us.
Well, before we let you go, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. But I think I speak for all the guys when it was an incredibly touching thing when your father passed away. You scored a hat trick that next game, and I got the chance to meet your dad, Coach, an unreal person. So I was so sorry for your loss, but that must have just been such an emotional day for you. But I figured you'd probably want to mention him.
Yeah. Thanks, Whit. Yeah, he's he was a one of a kind dad, kind of a big kid, and. It was tough going back there. He was really struggling, and the team actually let me fly back there with the kids because we knew he was getting kind of towards the end. We thought there was about 6 months. It turned out there was only about 40 days or so from when we went out there. But so we got pictures with his grandson who we'd never met before because of COVID and all the traveling stuff. And then, yeah, he was in rough shape. He ended up, he was at the point where, he didn't know really who was around him or who was talking to him. And we'd have to take him on walks. He'd just stand up on his own and just want to walk. So we'd walk him around the kitchen a little bit and bring him back to his chair. And it was pretty tough, because he didn't know that I was there. And, I remember on 2 of the walks, he would snap out of it and he'd see it was me. And it's an amazing thing how he's like literally walking and would just look up and his eyes would just fill with tears.
That's amazing.
And then that he didn't say anything, but I knew that, he knew it was me. So we had those last moments. And then, when he finally went and suffering was over, I got to get back with the boys, which is kind of, I don't know how you guys deal with tough times, but mine's always been to play sports. So I got back with the boys and they carried me and got me 3 goals. So I was appreciative of that and kind of a nice little farewell to the big man to get a hat trick there. So, and thanks for bringing it up. He was a great man and loved by a lot of people.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that's amazing. We appreciate that, Sharon, and sorry for your loss, but we want to thank you again, buddy. It's been an incredible run for you. What a career you've had, and it continues to move along. So good luck the rest of the year, and someday, Biz and I in a sandbag. I don't know if you've seen us on YouTube. I think we're 6-4 all time. So maybe heads up if you want a shot at the crown.
Yeah, we need the contract story too. You got to come back round 2.
Exactly.
When I'm done, you guys will be the first ones I call. I'll give you the story. It's a pretty good one. But thank you so much for having me. I know it's been a while, and I'm glad we were able to make it work. Sorry for all the
and say the website one more time.
Yeah. So the website itself is just Waro.com. That's how small Waro is. They didn't have Waro.com, the website coin. So just Waro.com/SC for Spittin Chiclets. You get a 20% discount there. Go check out the stuff. We got boxes coming to all you boys when I get your addresses. And we got this new butter line of like a sweats and a little sweatshirt. Comfiest thing you'll ever put on. So again, guys, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome, and it's fun listening to you guys. And Whit, always nice catching up. We had a couple good runs overseas together.
And I didn't want to spoil it too much, but you do have a documentary being made about your career, and that's also to raise awareness for Alzheimer's, excuse me. And we'll get you on to talk about that too. But I guess look out for that in your social channels. And when is around the time it should be coming out?
Yeah, so we're still cutting it up, and I don't know if it's out there yet, but we have someone pretty high up in the Hollywood scene that's co-producing for us. I'll let you guys speculate, but it's honestly like dream come true to have this guy working on the film with us. So we do have the documentary coming out, and just to, raise more awareness on Alzheimer's. I think one of the leading cause of deaths in the world, really, and just trying to get the attention out there and help prevent it for other people. So I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out, hopefully in the next 6 months or so, but I'll let the magicians behind the camera figure that out.
Thanks again for coming on, Osh.
Man, big thanks to TJ Oshie for joining us for a great chat. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I love his insights on his peers around the league. I want to keep track of the big dogs. That was some pretty fucking funny stuff. And hope you guys got a kick out of it as well. We do want to let you know that the interview is also brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. We talk about BetterHelp a lot on this show, and this month we're discussing some of the stigmas around mental health. For example, some people think you should wait until things are unbearable to go to therapy, but that isn't true. Therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can help you avoid those lows. Many people think therapy is for quote-unquote crazy people, but therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with you. It means you recognize that all humans have emotions and we need to learn to control them, not avoid them. And we've been taught that mental health shouldn't be a part of normal life, but that's wrong too. We take care of our bodies with the gym, the doctor, and nutrition. We should be focusing on our minds just as much. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/chiclets. That's BetterHelp.com/chiclets. And G, I know you're feeling better because we're going to take a month off, relax after our nice little Minnesota trip, and get ready for the Chiclets Cup in Vegas, baby.
That is correct, RA. We are exactly 1 month away from the Chiclets Cup. Last pod, Biz announced AJ Galante from the Danbury Trashers will be joining us there. Terry Ryan Sr. as well. And we're also working on adding a potential another party to the mix. So another Pink Whitney party could be thrown into the mix here for All-Star Weekend. We're super, super excited. And Whit, I know you were kind of mentioning in Minnesota how pumped you were for this.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, one thing, it's Vegas. Everyone has a blast there and then leaves with their tail between their legs. And two, the fact that we get the party. I think that what we experienced with the first Chiclets Cup shows that like there's so much room for improvement, even though we crushed it. So we're going to get better and better. Now it's Vegas. Now we got some parties going on. And also there's room left. So chicletscup.com. Get on there right now. If you want to play in this tournament, I promise you will not be disappointed. The setup we have, I believe, is right outside the Strat. And it, right? Is that where we're doing it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I've already seen on Google Images, Google Maps, the area it's going to be. It's going to be a blast. Get over there right now, chicletscup.com, and join the party.
Yeah, not only for the people who are involved in it, but even just fans there for the All-Star game. We're going to have like live bands. We're going to have a couple parties and stuff like that. Obviously, the people who are involved in the tournament are going to have first priority. We're going to do the night before. We're going to do this little kickoff event that we did the last time in Detroit. So we're learning and growing as we do these things. This one in Vegas is going to be a notch above Detroit. And I cannot wait to fucking speed bag all these teams. And I'll announce another guy. We're getting Trevor Gretzky as our goaltender. And also Terry Ryan is going to be bringing in a couple ringers for me. So he's going to reach it.
Trev's playing, huh?
Trev's going to be. Well, RA, I wanted you in that, but you said you hung him up, so I got to go with the young guy, the young legs.
You guys are better. You're in a higher class too. You guys aren't playing in the D division anymore. So I mean,
we're going to Vegas. We're going to land, and that'll be the last time we see RA. We're playing a street hockey tournament.
Those Gretzky boys at it again. Biz, talking about celebrity guests, I meant to say you bumped into the famous Tony X. Blues fan out in the hotel, I understand, huh?
Yeah, hotel bar. He was having he met quite a few guys over the weekend too. He met John Hamm. He ran into him in the bar. I saw your Twitter exchange, but he's one of I think he became a hockey fan randomly online, just kind of stumbled across hockey. Story. And now he's kind of one of these like online personas around the game. And I think the league ends up flying him around because of the amount of engagement that he creates. So just an awesome fan and an awesome guy, and was able to finally meet him in person. So it was a great event, man. I had a blast.
He's a hell of an ambassador for the game, man. I'm fortunate I didn't bump into him, but I'm trying to twist his arm to get him out to Vegas. So maybe we can entice him with a little free airfare.
We'll have to get Gary Bettman to open up his wallet and get a flight for Tony X.
Well, boys, I know you wanted to talk about your old team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're red hot right now. They ripped off their 8th straight win with a 13-day layoff in between. Jake Gensel pretty much pacing his team right now, 29 points in 25 games. Evan Rodriguez on fire as well, got 26 points in 31 games. But I think the story of the team, Tristan Jarry, 10-1-1 in his last 12 on the season. He's got a 1.93 goals against, 9.32 save percentage, 3 shutouts. They're still 6 points back at first, but this is a hell of a run they've been making. And Geno Malcolm hasn't played a fucking game all year. So you're going to add this all-world guy right to the lineup. Said his knees never felt better. They asked him about coming back. He said he wants to play for 3 or 4 more years. And he said, I'm not thinking about my contract. I'm not thinking about money. I'm like a pretty rich guy. So, I mean, Geno being Geno, and if you're a Penguins fan, man, the way Jarry's playing, the way the team's playing, now you're going to add Malcolm, man, you got to be fired up right now.
How about Rodriguez, man? This guy's on pace for 30 goals. The most he'd ever had before this was 9. And he's been a lightning rod for them. But going back to Jarry, he was the one question mark after a tough playoff performance last year. And it's a cultural thing to me. I'm a fucking bozo. I thought that they were going to miss playoffs with Crosby and Malkin missing time at the beginning of the season. Crosby's came back, and all he needed to do was get his reps. Now he's firing on all cylinders, and going to Malkin and hearing his quotes. Geez, I think he's going to be ready to sign a 4-year extension with the Penguins pretty soon, probably at a hometown discount, for crying out loud. And he says that his knee is stronger than ever before. And he's probably on the gas, and this team is primed and ready for another fucking cup run all of a sudden.
I actually put in a future on him, because if you look at like the way that Sid's career has gone, like, would you be that surprised if he gets one more? I really wouldn't. And going to the season, I obviously would have been. But then seeing some of the production they've got, Rodriguez being number one from guys that you didn't necessarily expect it from. Rodriguez is a pretty cool story. So he played at BU, fellow Terrier, and his junior year, in a tough year, I think the whole team kind of struggled. He had like 14, 15 points in 30 games as a junior, right? Well, senior year, he comes back. You're not going to turn pro after that. I don't even know if he had the option to. And Jack Eichel comes in. So he has the chance to play with Jack Eichel, who wins the Hobey Baker, one of the best college players of all time. Rodriguez wasn't drafted. He gets 61 points in 41 games playing with Eichel, gets signed by Buffalo. That year plays most of the year in the AHL, but then works his way. He's playing in the NHL. Now, granted, he's playing for Buffalo, so this isn't a great team. So maybe he wouldn't have had that chance had he signed with another organization. But he goes over to Pittsburgh, and Mike Sullivan has just really believed in him. And there was a lot of talk about, who's going to score goals for them. And apparently there's a clip on a show that falls around the Penguins, kind of like what the Bruins have on Ness and RA. The Penguins have something similar. I don't know the name of it, but you can see Mike Sullivan in the summer is talking openly with the hockey staff, about like how well this guy can play and how much of a scorer he can be. And this year has been incredible. And I think that if you've had your career high points be 29 and you're at 26 through 31 games, not only are you like feeling great because of what's going on, you're as confident as you've ever been. So the kid had a hat trick on Sunday. Brian Rust also had a hat trick. He had 5 points.
And I think that was his first game back in a long time. Another guy who came off injury.
Yeah, and so they have like a team that could go on a run, and Jari being one of the reasons that you're like, oh, they have a legit goalie. I mean, this kid, it's not a flash in the pan. He's a true number one goalie. He's kind of proved that. So actually, the last I was in the last game. I think I was in the last game of at least on the team. The last time two Penguins had a hat trick, it was Peter Sikora and Pascal Dupuis in 2008. So it's been quite a while. And to think that Rodriguez had a chance, he just missed an empty netter for his fourth goal. It ended up being icing, but they were up 2 goals, whatever. That's what everyone does now. But this team is it's for real. And the question mark being like Gino's a UFA, Letang's a UFA. I don't know how that all works out. But we'll see what Gino has when he comes back, because the way he was talking, you're expecting some serious.
Oh yeah,
you're like, and
he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk like that very often, or if ever. So yeah, now I'm fucking shaking to my boots for my hot pick there at the start of the season.
I watched most of that game because it was what was it, 5-1 or
6-1 after the first.
6-1 after the first. Next thing you know, it's 6-5. And so I was watching, and Crosby was dominant. I mean, he's had like a little bit of an issue in terms of scoring goals. He's still over a point per game, but like, he's got 4 goals in 19 games. And the way he looked, it almost is like, hey, there's going to be a Sid explosion coming up here. One of those 10 games, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points type Sid explosion. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if that comes to fruition when Gino gets back. And that power play, with how good Rodriguez has looked, him being a righty, it's an enormous difference maker. So you can have Letang up top. You get Rodriguez to his left for a one-timer. Malkin will be to the right for his one-timer in his usual spot. Sit down on the goal line. And then, look, stick whoever you want in front. It happens to be Jake Gensel. So I love the Pens, and now I'm on the train for them possibly winning the cup. Number 4.
Yeah, I think they're one move away. And the only unfortunate part is I don't think they have a lot of high-end prospects down in the minors. And I don't know exactly what they have as far as like draft picks in order to maybe lure someone over. So, I mean, just like everyone else, I think they need that one other piece.
Berkey will be going for it.
Yes, he will.
I should say Berkey and Ron Hextall. It's not just him.
All right, boys, moving right along. Another milestone to check in on. Jonathan Tavares played his 900th NHL game the other night. Unfortunately, there was no crowd there to celebrate with him. He got an assist in a blowout versus Ottawa. Biz, I know you wanted to chime in here on your boys, the Maple Leafs.
They are fucking rolling right now. And that was another guy who was, there was a little bit of a question mark coming into the season on what he was going to provide. And he looks like his old self with those young, fresh legs. So I was surprised to hear that he's already hit 900, because he's still going to play another, like he's the type of guy who's probably going to get the 1,500 games at the pace that he's going right now. So yeah, you saw a couple of their guys post about him. He's a leader in that locker room, and you could tell the younger guys really respect him and look up to him. So, yeah, I have high expectations for this Leaf squad. I know that Witt doesn't, but we all know that he's a fucking bozo, and he's going to lose that bet too.
Oh yeah, the bet is that they win the cup. If you think I'm the only fucking person that doesn't think they're going to win the cup, then you're dumber than your mustache makes you look.
Oh,
little spice for the back end of the pod. I won't look as fucking stupid as you were with that stupid earring in your ear.
If you're a Leafs fan, any Leafs fan out there, as I said, you say whatever you want.
No, I think the bet was at the beginning of the year that I said that they were going to find themselves out of the first round. I said that.
No. I said I'd wear the pink tuxedo if they win the cup.
That's true.
How much does a life size?
I could have a pink tuxedo with an earring, technically.
How much is a life size crucifix, anyways? What's that run? $200?
I have no clue. Why? Why do you ask?
Well, I mean, it's got to fit the wit dog.
Oh,
it's gonna be like one of those Easter stunt double things.
It's gonna be the same one in that movie that
Passion of Christ.
Why would I be on a crucifix?
No, because of how he says it's got to match the size of your ear. So he says you're gonna look like the guy in the Passion of the Christ.
I thought I'd be like Jesus on the cross. I wasn't thinking about my ear. Yeah.
All right. I was thinking of the exact same thing you were. I was going to say who directed the movie? Famous actor.
Scorsese directed.
No, Mel Gibson directed it.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of The Last Temptation of Christ. Scorsese directed that. The Last Temptation.
Stay hot.
Yeah. All right. No, there were 2 big Jesus movies by prominent directors. Last Temptation of Christ.
I never seen Passion of the Christ.
And Passion of the Christ was Mel Gibson. I never seen either because
really.
Yeah, religious shit doesn't float my boat, even if it's a movie.
You're a movie guy.
I know. I actually never seen either one. I don't know. I think fucking all the brainwashing they did to me as a kid, I revolt against that shit now. Biz, your old stomping grounds were in the news quite a bit this week. The East Coast Hockey League. We had a pregame Dr. Hook fight, the anti-tummy sticks. Travis Howe, the Jacksonville Iceman versus Nico Blashman of the South Carolina Stingrays. Shout out Connie from Dorchester. But these guys were like, one guy stepping over the line, the other guy's hitting him. Dude, they were like stick fighting. It was like Dr. Hook, Tim McCracken, straight out of Slapshot. Have you ever participated in
one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen in a professional hockey game was the guy from the Jacksonville team, the Iceman, go over the red line and start stretching on the other team's side. And then you had guys from the South Carolina team firing pucks at him. And I guess there was a dust up between the two guys at the red line who were going at it at the beginning of the clip. And the guy from the Jacksonville Iceman ended up pumping the other guy. Now, that was just what I'm hearing online. So I think we need to tune in a little bit more to this ECHL business, because this is this is going right back to the Slapshot days. Would you not agree? They were fucking harpooning each other. They were spearing each other.
I just made 17 Slapshot references. So yeah, I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the kid's name from Jacksonville?
Jacksonville play was Travis Howe.
Okay, I'm guessing he is beyond tough, because he was stretching in their zone and they weren't really doing anything. Like, that's something where you come over and physically like jump on him and tackle him. Like, I know people aren't really aware of that, but you do not enter the other team's zone in warmups. It is like what is the word? Like, it just doesn't happen in hockey. You've seen guys who go a little bit over the red line, they get an elbow to the face back in the day. Like, it's your zone, it's your half of the ice, so do not go in there. And the way that they were kind of like, they were shooting pucks at him and they were kind of spearing at him, but notice nobody was going near him.
Yeah, you gotta drop the mitts at that point. If the guys,
but what's the suspension if it's pregame? I mean, you must get murdered with a fine. There's no ref on the ice.
I don't know
why. They were
why.
like assaulting each other out there. Sorry, Biz. I didn't mean to cut you out. They were like legit assaulting each other, though. Like, I don't know. I love it. I love the fact that nothing happened. But it's funny you mentioned Slapshot, Biz. And I meant to say this earlier, but a nice little segue. The organist at the Seattle games is the actual organist from Slapshot, the movie. Rod Masters, his name is. He actually wore a bucket. You know, in the Slapshot, he gets hit in the head with the puck and he comes back with a bucket. I guess he wore a bucket the other night in Seattle, and he played Lady of Spain, which is the song, of course, that Reds Dunlop tells him to never play again. So just, I don't know, fun little thing, I guess, for Seattle to kind of keep going all these years later.
Going back to the Jacksonville player, no song there. That was a good little segue. That Jacksonville player, when Sean ended up going down to get a little bit of video of Derek Nesbitt's 1,000th game, they were playing against Jacksonville, and that guy ended up getting in a big scrap. So I think that he's the king of the castle. And if you could re-say his name again, RA, so everybody knows, I think that he's the number one heavyweight in the ECHL. And Clayton Keller reached out to me and said that the guy from the South Carolina team, Blanchard, I believe you said his last name was?
Yeah, Blatchman, maybe.
Or Blatchman. They said that he would come on the podcast to explain everything that ended up going down. So maybe we should start getting these ECHL interviews and kicking up some dust. They could turn it into the UFC for crying out loud, the amount of or the lack of rules down there.
Yeah, and Biz, we will be working on the Jungle series that we mentioned last podcast with tons of ECHL content that you're going to be working on for the next few months. So keep an eye on that on the YouTube channel.
I might buy a fucking team if that's the antics that's going on down there. That's pure entertainment, start to finish, warm up, that is. And then there was another crazy ECHL story too, right? All right.
Yep. Get to that in a sec. Travis Howe was the Iceman you were asking about, Whit. And also, I just mentioned the Stingrays. Of course, the team president is a local boy, Robbie Kincannon, a Dorchester guy right out of here in Boston. So give him a shout out.
Google Robbie Kincannon, Boston Globe. And I think Billy Baker wrote the article. Friend of mine, Jack Baker's brother. You'll learn about how much of a legend Rob Kincannon is. I don't even know him.
Oh, Con, he's fucking bananas. We miss him up here in Boston, but he's been having great success down there. So hope you're doing well there, Connie. But yeah, East Coast, we had an e-bug story. This kid, Brady DeVries, he plays Division III Grand Canyon University in your home state, Biz, Arizona. He was in San Diego for winter break. Well, the Utah Grizzlies and East Coast Hockey League team, they were visiting his hometown, Rapid City Rush, and they needed a goalie because of COVID, injuries, all this bullshit. So DeVries stepped in with borrowed gear. He stopped 18 of 21 shots for a 4-3 overtime win, made his pro debut. This is a Division III goalie, man. Like, I went to a Division III school. Some of these kids are good. Some of them are so-so. He jumps in, gets his first pro start. His pads were back in Arizona. He had to borrow pads. He had to borrow the helmet off the other team's goalie coach. He goes in and he beats him. Just an awesome fucking story, man. We can never get sick of E-Bug goalies, whatever level. But the fact that this kid's home on spring break, a D3 goalie, and gets in a pro game, awesome. I love it.
I couldn't even throw on another guy's shin pads and play a game. That's how uncomfortable it is. Hey, even breaking in new shin pads. They could be mine the same size. If you get those new Jofas, they just feel like they feel terrible. But that's a great story. The ECHL providing all the entertainment.
Seriously, this week.
Last ECHL thing, buddy of mine, Bobby Butler, who hasn't played since 18-19. He played for Hartford. He actually made Team USA, the Olympic team, last Olympics. So he's been retired 2-3 years. The Worcester, I think it's the Railmen, the ECHL team in Worcester called him. They needed a guy, so he went and played, and he had a 1 and 2 goal and 2 assists.
Oh my goodness!
On Sunday, playing with all and his kids are a little bit older now. Where I think his son Vince is his oldest, so he was able to be there. I saw all the pictures on Instagram from his wife, and like his son's got the jersey, and he lit it up. So it's pretty cool to not play pro in 2 years and go get 3 points in a coast game.
I don't know if that says a lot about him or the league.
I don't know. He's a sniper, I'll say that. But it's like, can I get a contract, please? I said 3 points.
Could he play ball hockey?
He probably pretty decent.
Another local we got to give a salute to it. Our buddy Stevie Greeley. He joined Dallas as the director of hockey strategy / scouting and development. He's going to oversee scouting and analytics. This guy's a great guy. Worked for the Rangers, Sabres for a little bit. You grew up with him, right? What?
Yeah, we're from Scituate. His brother Jack and I played together. His brother Jack's the kid who had the breakaways against Marc-Andre Fleury. I think he scored 2 of 10. I've told that story a long time ago on Chiclets. Steve, I played at BU with. He was assistant coach at BU. He worked for the Rangers. He worked for the Sabres. And now after, I think it's, been just a little bit over a year, he's signed to Dallas. And I think a big part of it's going to be the analytics. So I know there's a lot of discussion there on what he'll be doing. So congratulations, back in the game. That's what he knew would happen. So Dallas Stars, here comes Greeley.
Congrats, pal. Good for you. All right, boys, that's it for the hockey. A couple of final notes here. John Madden, NHL legend, died at 85. Of course, he was a legendary coach.
NFL.
What did I say?
NFL.
What the fuck did I say?
NHL. It's okay, buddy. We're all scrambling.
Well, Gretzky took a shit in his car, so he's kind of
so yeah, little Venn diagram. Either way, NFL legend John Madden, dead at 85. Of course, he was a legendary coach, legendary analyst, the video game god. And you already squashed the story about Gretzky, and also Betty White. She got whammy, dude. People magazine comes out 100th birthday special edition for Betty White, and then she dies before her 100th birthday. It's like,
oh my goodness,
fucking whammied by People magazine. But another TV legend. If you honestly, do you ever watch the Golden Girls?
I watched the Golden Girls.
It still holds up. Like, I was a 13-year-old kid watching it fucking ages ago. And I don't know what it was about, like horny, like senior woman, but it kept me watching.
A couple gilfs buzzing around. You love that shit, all right?
A couple G gilfs. But either way, the show still holds up, and largely because of Betty White and how funny she was. So
I was
a couple legends.
I was shooting pucks, and RA was cranking it to the Golden Girls.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people might take option B there.
You are
don't shame. We don't kink shame on here.
Going back to John Madden, he was one of the only guys that was ever able to announce games for different networks. Wasn't he working for 3 different networks at a time?
No. He worked for all 4 networks. The only guy ever. He was never doing it all at once.
Oh, I thought it was all at once. I'm like, holy shit! I maybe my comprehension skills are off.
Agent.
Yeah. No, he worked for ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and nobody else has done that. And I actually, I totally forgot that John Madden did the Pats' first Super Bowl win when they beat the Rams. And Pat Summerall, who also passed away years ago, them together, if you just YouTube Pat Summerall, John Madden, like the way they both sound, their voices and the description, and the fact that they got to do that Pat's Super Bowl in New Orleans, just an amazing announcer, amazing team, probably the best ever to do it in football.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I might throw Cosell, fucking Gifford, and Don Maynard in there, but I certainly wouldn't disagree when you say Summerall and Madden for sure. But
it was apparently Summerall enjoyed a few cocktails while he was on the broadcast. Is that a fact?
Yeah. I mean, I think it became a problem for him, and later I think he kind of settled down with that later in life. But yeah, he used to enjoy a few pop sterns.
Well, I mean, the way that Andy Cohen was buzzing, I think they should let people drink and go on television more often.
Yeah, Andy Cohen, he was drunk shitting on the former New York mayor de Blasio, in which case, who gives a fuck? He's not the mayor anymore. My wife said he got fired, but apparently he will be invited back. I don't know. But either way, when the St. Louis Blues won the cup a couple of years ago, I went over and congratulated this guy. My wife's a huge fan of him. And he was kind of like a dick. And I said it before. And I guess someone told him, he brought it up on the show. I mean, I wasn't rude. I was like, hey, congrats on the win. And he was just kind of looking at me like that, who are you type look, when someone's being condescending toward you. So I don't know. I always liked him before that, and he's kind of a dick to me, so I haven't rooted for him as much since, Biz. But
all right, well, he's on the shit list.
Heroes. Well, I didn't that night, but all right. Anything else, boys?
Guys. One thing. So I posted a picture of Biz in our new ski merch that we plan to drop this Thursday, actually, and it kind of went. I don't want to say it went viral, but people were popping off about it. So we're dropping a whole après ski line this Thursday. We got winter jackets, trapper hats, RA's wearing them. We have pants. We have windbreakers. So barstoolsports.com/chiclets. It's actually some really, really incredible, high quality, good ski merch. So
I'm going skiing in 2 weeks, G. You got to send some my way.
I got you, buddy.
I'm going to Okemo in Vermont. And my last thing is in terms of TV shows, maybe you brought this up already, Dope Sick on Hulu. You seen it?
I haven't yet. I've heard it's wonderful. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, wonderful.
It is one of the most amazing, sad, incredible shows. The acting in it's amazing. Michael Keaton is kind of the main character. It goes through basically what the true pandemic is, and that's opiates in this country and how Purdue originally brought OxyContin into the world. And I recommend it to anyone. It's amazing, and it's very, very kind of tough to watch at times. It's not a documentary. It's a show, like I said, with Keaton. But check that one out because some of the biggest scumbags to ever live you'll see in this show. It's absolutely disgusting.
They knowingly hooked.
They told everyone it was that less than 1% of people would become addicted. And then not only that, people started taking a pill that was supposed to last for 12 hours. It wouldn't last for 12 hours. What did Purdue did? They just told all the doctors, double the dosage. And so I'm kind of somewhat, I'm on episode 4 or 5. You don't necessarily know yet. All the salespeople didn't know, but I think they kind of did. Doctors didn't know, but they kind of did. It's a wild show in terms of seeing how this all went down. But the family, I think they were the Sacklers. They're the biggest. Dude, it's insane.
Crazy. So nobody's in jail for it. Sorry to cut you off.
It's disgusting. I recommend the show on Hulu, Dope Sick. So everyone, scattered episode, but we had a great time in Mini, and there's so much good happening in the league as long as we get these games back going and get fans in Canada. I'm sorry, Canadians, you don't deserve this, but we love all you guys. And once again, to the people in Mini, unreal that you chose to come out and hang with us. Thank you so much.